close your eyes. Not to escape the world, but to claim your power within it. And now, dare to imagine this. You open your mailbox. And there it is. An envelope. You weren't expecting it. You didn't work extra hours for it. You didn't hustle or chase it. But it came. A check made out to you. That feeling, that quiet shock mixed with delight, capture it, own it, live in it. Because your entire world is responding not to what you say or do, but to what you feel is true. If you truly believe that random checks are finding their way to you, then the outer world must arrange itself to reflect that truth. The mailman becomes the messenger of your faith. The bank becomes the servant of your imagination. But here's the secret. You must receive them first in consciousness. You must see the envelope before it comes. You must feel the deposit before the transaction. You must give thanks before the gift. Do not wait for proof. The proof is in your assumption, and your assumption is the seed. When you say, I receive more and more random checks, say it not as a wish, but as a fact. Speak it with the same ease as you say your name. And then forget the words and feel the experience. You are not waiting for a miracle, you are the miracle. And miracles follow those who believe they already have. So every morning affirm it. I receive more and more random checks. Feel the thrill. Smile as if you just opened another one. Trust that the unseen is already moving, because it is. You are the operant power, the author, the receiver, and your only job is to believe it's already done. The moment you turn within and begin to feel as if something were already yours, you unlock the true source of all that manifests in the outer world, your imagination. It is not the job, not the business opportunity, not the person who wrote the check that brings wealth into your life. The checks do not come from the world, they come through it. And that difference, though subtle in language, is everything in power. You see, most people live believing that the world is cause and they are effect. They believe that until the check arrives in the mail, they have no reason to feel abundant. Until they see the money, they cannot believe in the wealth. But this is backwards. All creation begins within. The outer is only a reflection of the inner, and your imagination is the sacred place where reality is born. When you begin to imagine receiving checks, holding them, depositing them, celebrating them, even before they appear in the physical world, you are performing the only act that truly matters. What you assume to be true of yourself becomes your world. If you assume you are always surprised by unexpected blessings, if you feel the joy and certainty of abundance before your senses confirm it, then you set the law of consciousness in motion, and this law cannot be broken. The world must obey the tone and mood of your inner state. It must conform to the picture you paint with your imagination. This is not speculation, it is the structure upon which all things rest. When you live from the end being the reality in which random checks are a normal and expected part of your life, you are no longer seeking money. You are dwelling in the energy of already having received it. The world in response begins to bend in ways you cannot predict. Someone you haven't spoken to in years might suddenly feel compelled to bless you. An old refund, forgotten, might show up. An opportunity you didn't pursue could open a door. These are not accidents. They are echoes of your assumption. Imagination is not some fleeting daydream. It is your power to create, to call things which are not seen as though they were. And when that imagined scene is felt vividly, when it is soaked in gratitude, excitement, and faith, it begins to clothe itself in form. The longer you remain in that state, the faster it will move from the invisible to the visible. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. The how is not your domain. The route through which the money flows is chosen by a wisdom deeper than your conscious mind. But you, as the creator, must open the gate through which it flows. And that gate is your own belief, your own feeling, your own silent knowing that yes, the checks are coming. In fact, they have already arrived. Once you accept that your imagination is the only true source of reality, you become free from waiting. You begin to receive in joy before receiving in hand. And it is that joyous, expectant feeling which magnetizes the conditions of your life. You are not hoping, you are being. And being is the secret. So dwell there. Each morning, let your inner eyes see what your physical eyes do not. Feel the texture of the envelope, the weight of the check inside it. Hear the click of your mailbox, the whisper of divine surprise. Walk through your world as one who knows that all things are already his, and the world, obedient as ever, will echo your truth. It was always yours. Now, to live in the end is to make the outcome you desire so real within you that you no longer question its arrival. You are not waiting for random checks, you are already receiving them. You are not hoping for provision, you are already provided for. Living in the end means feeling the reality of your desire as though it were happening now. Because in consciousness it is happening now. There is no waiting. There is only accepting. Begin by asking yourself, if random checks consistently arrived in your life, how would you feel? Not just once, but again and again. How would you carry yourself, knowing that unexpected blessings, financial surprises, and divine provisions flowed freely to you without struggle? That feeling, peaceful, abundant, secure, is the secret doorway into manifestation. You do not create by trying harder. You create by feeling deeper. You create by entering the scene mentally and emotionally and living from that place of fulfillment. Imagine waking up each day and instead of worrying about how money will come, you smile with knowing you know that you are always taken care of. You feel it in your body. You walk through the day with the same ease as someone who has already deposited 3 checks this week and expects 2 more next week. You are not desperate. You are not surprised. You are calm and grateful because this is now your normal. This is what living in the end looks like. Not hoping something might happen, but resting in the fact that it already is. Most people live in a state of lack and wonder why lack continues to show up. They pray for checks, then rehearse all the ways it probably won't happen. They try to visualize, but their hearts are full of doubt. You must go deeper than that. You must allow yourself to dwell in the emotional atmosphere of already having. You must feel the tone of wealth, the vibration of ease, the naturalness of abundance. Let this inner mood become your permanent dwelling place. Living in the end is not a one-time event. It is a practice, a discipline, a commitment to ignore appearances and hold fast to the unseen. The world will often offer evidence to the contrary, empty accounts, unpaid bills, unanswered calls. But those are just shadows. Do not chase the shadow. Dwell in the light of your desire. Let the checks arrive first in your mind. See them, smell the paper, hear the crinkle of the envelope. Picture yourself walking into the bank. Feel the gratitude swell in your chest as the deposit is made. Let it be so real that the outer world has no choice but to conform. And it will conform. It must. Because the world reflects your state of being, and when your being is grounded in the end, when your soul has accepted that receiving is already happening, the bridge of events will unfold. You don't need to know how. You don't need to force the path. Just persist in the end. Stay faithful to the version of you that already receives or already celebrates, already expects. This is the truth. The world bends to the assumptions you refuse to abandon. When you live in the end, the universe rearranges itself to match your conviction. People you've never met will feel compelled to bless you. Opportunities you didn't seek will arise. Money will come from channels you couldn't have imagined. But all of that is secondary. The real work is within. So live now as the one who receives more and more random checks. Let the feeling settle. Let it take root. Wear it like your favorite garment. Return to it when doubt tries to visit. And with time, not long time, but faithful time, you'll find that what began in imagination has found its way into form. Not because you chased it, but because you lived in the end. And the end always makes itself known. Money by itself is powerless. It is not the source, but the reflection. It does not think, move, or decide. It does not choose you. You choose it. Through your belief, this is the great misunderstanding of the world, that money holds power, that it determines worth, that it arrives only by hard work or luck. In truth, money responds to the self-concept you carry. It comes not to the most deserving, nor the most intelligent, but to the one who believes they are the kind of person to whom it naturally flows. If you believe that you are always just getting by, then life will prove you right. If you believe you have to fight for every dollar, then struggle will follow. If you believe money avoids you, then it will. But if you believe deeply and sincerely that you are blessed, that you are the kind of person who finds money when they least expect it, that random checks show up in your mailbox or your account without strain, then your world must mirror that belief. Because the law is simple. Consciousness is the only reality. What you accept as true becomes true for you. Money obeys belief. It is a servant, not a master. It listens to your inner dialogue. It follows the instructions you whisper in secret. And if those instructions are laced with worry, doubt, and limitation, then you will repel the very thing you think you want. Not because you are unworthy, but because you have not yet shifted the belief behind your desire. You see, it is not enough to want random checks. You must believe in the reality of receiving them. You must carry yourself as one who receives with ease. You must remove the pedestal on which you've placed money and recognize that the power was never in the check. It was always in your consciousness. Money is not the miracle. You are. And the moment you decide that wealth is natural to you, the moment you affirm and feel that you are open to receiving from unexpected places, life rushes to prove you right. Think of the many who attract financial blessings without effort. They do not chase it. They expect it. They do not fear money running out because their belief is in an endless source. And so money comes, not to control them, but to serve their freedom. Their belief creates the path. Their certainty shapes the result. If you want to receive more, then you must believe more. You must shift your self-concept from someone who hopes to someone who knows, from someone who wishes to someone who receives. Begin to affirm this. Money comes to me from known and unknown sources. I am always provided for. Random checks are a natural part of my experience. Say it until it feels familiar. Say it until it feels normal. Say it until the words no longer sound like affirmation, but like fact. Because the truth is, once your belief shifts, the outer world will follow. The job will call. The refund will come. The check will appear. But you will not be surprised because your belief made it inevitable. So stop looking at the number in your account and assigning it meaning. It is old news, a reflection of yesterday's belief. Instead, look within and ask, what do I truly believe about money? What story am I telling myself? And if that story no longer serves you, write a new one. A story where money is easy, where receiving is normal, where your name seems to attract abundance by its very sound. This is not about arrogance, it is about alignment. The outer obeys the inner. The world reflects your assumption, and money, like all things, bows to belief. Persistence is the golden thread that weaves the unseen into the seen. It is the quiet, consistent choice to remain in the end, even when nothing in your external world suggests it's working. You do not need to know how the checks will come. You are not required to map the steps or strategize the timeline. Your only task is to persist in the assumption that it is already so, to dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled and refuse to leave it, no matter what contradicts it. This is where most fall away. They plant the seed of assumption and dig it up at the first sign of doubt. They imagine receiving money out of the blue, feel good for a moment, then check their bank account and declare, "See, nothing's happening." But the moment you do that, you've left the state. You've abandoned the ends. And you've given power to appearances, which are always the product of past assumptions, not present ones. The how is not your concern. That is the job of the unseen forces moving through your world, arranging what needs to be arranged. All you must do is carry the inner conviction that it's done. The bridge of events, the series of steps and coincidences that bring your assumption to life, will unfold naturally and often invisibly. You may not even recognize that the bridge is building until you find yourself on the other side of it. Think of this. You decide you are the kind of person who receives unexpected checks. You persist in that feeling day after day, not desperately, not anxiously, but confidently. You walk, talk, and live as one who receives. You do not entertain doubt. You do not check your mailbox with worry. You check with gratitude. You live in the vibration of already having. That is persistence. Slowly or suddenly, the world begins to shift. Someone remembers a debt they owe you, a refund you forgot about arrives, a job opportunity with a surprise bonus lands in your lap, a family member blesses you out of nowhere. The path was never yours to create. It was yours to allow. But it only happens through persistence. Persistence is not repetition of words, it is repetition of state. It is not begging or pleading, but returning again and again to the feeling that it's done, that the money is yours, that the checks are already on their way, that life knows your desire and is faithfully delivering it. So you must be faithful to your assumption, even when the world is silent, even when you see no sign. That is the test, and it is not a test of worth, it is a test of awareness. Will you continue to dwell in the end when your senses tell you otherwise? Will you hold the inner reality long enough for the outer to reflect it? This is not about force, it is about trust. Not about controlling, but surrendering to the truth that what you imagine with conviction must come to pass. Do not try to make it happen, let it happen. But keep your inner world fixed. Stay loyal to the version of yourself who already receives. Let that version lead. Let that version make decisions. Walk into rooms. Speak affirmations. Not from lack, but from fullness. If you do this, you will one day look back and realize the bridge was always building. The right people showed up. The unexpected events unfolded. The checks came, not because you figured it out, but because you believed it was already done. Persistence is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is the quiet force that moves mountains. And when you master it, reality will bend, not because you fought it, but because you refuse to leave the state of fulfillment. That is how all things are born. That is how the invisible becomes visible. Through persistence. The world is not separate from you. It is not some distant force with a will of its own. It is yourself expressed in form, your thoughts, your assumptions, your emotions, your beliefs, all made visible. When you truly grasp this, you stop blaming the world and you start shaping it. You begin to understand that every experience, every encounter, every so-called coincidence is a mirror, reflecting back to you the content of your consciousness. So if you desire to receive random checks, don't look outside. Don't wait for the mail or chase opportunities. Instead, turn within. Ask yourself, do I feel worthy of being surprised by life? Do I truly believe the universe wants to bless me? Do I expect joy to arrive at my doorstep unannounced? Because if you don't, the world cannot reflect it. The world can only echo what you've internalized as truth. To receive with ease, you must become the version of yourself who lives in ease. To receive surprise checks, you must assume the identity of one who is always cared for, one who trusts the process of life, one who is delighted and delighted often. This inner shift is everything. Without it, you're just wishing. But with it, you're commanded. You see, the universe has no favorites. It does not withhold, it only responds. It listens to your dominant state, and when that state is one of joy, gratitude, and expectancy, the world has no choice but to mirror it. That's when checks arrive without reason. That's when people offer you gifts. That's when banks correct errors in your favor. That's when life conspires to surprise you not randomly but faithfully, because you have become a match to the feeling of being abundantly provided for. You must internalize the idea that good things are meant for you, not earned through stress, not begged for, but received as a natural extension of who you are. You must dwell in the feeling that you are always guided, always supported, always loved by the very fabric of existence. And when this feeling becomes your normal, the outer world has no choice but to show up accordingly. Imagine walking through life believing, truly believing, that the universe is playful and generous, that it enjoys surprising you, that it hides blessings in ordinary places just to see your smile when you discover them. If you carried that attitude in your heart, how different would your days feel? How differently would you treat people? How much lighter would your spirit be? That is the energy that attracts the unexpected. That is the energy that calls in abundance from unseen places. So you must stop waiting for the world to change and begin changing your concept of self. You are not a passive observer. You are the dreamer of the dream, the maker of meaning, the one through whom all things are filtered. The world is your consciousness externalized. It cannot show you what you do not first accept within. This is why it is said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, because feeling is the secret. Feeling is what speaks to the subconscious, and the moment you feel the joy of receiving, even without evidence, the moment you believe in surprises, in magic, in provision without reason, the world takes notice. The checks will come. Not because you chase them, but because you align with the version of yourself that already has them. The version that walks with confidence. The version that expects to be delighted. The version that no longer doubts if she's worthy. Because she knows she is. Your inner world is sacred. Guard it. Tend to it. Fill it with the assumption that life is always working for you, that the universe is conspiring in your favor, that random blessings, unexpected checks, and joyful surprises are the natural outpouring of your belief. Because when the joy lives within you, it must appear around you, always. The world is yourself pushed out. Gratitude is not a reaction to life. It is the force that shapes life. When you give thanks, not after something appears, but before, you activate the very power that causes the unseen to be seen. Gratitude is the declaration that you already have what your senses cannot yet confirm. It is a signal to the universe that you trust, that you believe, that you live in the end even while others wait for the world to change. This is why gratitude multiplies the flow. Because when you appreciate something, you are giving it your attention, your emotion, your belief. You are energizing it. And what you energize grows. It becomes real, not just in your mind, but in the world around you. Most people misunderstand this. They think they must wait for the check to arrive, the job to be offered, the gift to be given. Then they'll be grateful. But the truth is, the longer you delay your gratitude, the longer you delay your blessing, it's that you have not yet aligned with the frequency of the thing you want. Gratitude is the frequency. Imagine waking up every morning and feeling thankful, not for what you see, but for what you know is already yours in the invisible. Imagine saying, thank you for the random checks that keep coming into my life. Thank you for the unexpected money, the divine surprises, the overflow of blessings. You say this with no proof, no evidence, only the conviction that it is real. You let your heart feel the fullness of already having. What happens then? The world begins to conform because you have changed. You have elevated your state. You are no longer doubting, waiting, wishing. You are knowing. You are in the vibration of fulfillment. And fulfillment cannot help but attract more to be fulfilled about. Gratitude also removes resistance. It clears away the energy of lack, of desperation, of I need this to happen. Those states block the flow, they close the door. But gratitude opens it wide. It says, I am already complete, I am already blessed, I welcome more, but I am lacking nothing. And from that place, miracles flow easily. The grateful soul is magnetic. You can feel it in their presence. They are rich, not just in material things, but in spirit. They see beauty where others see problems. They find gifts in every corner of their life, and so the universe responds by giving them more to be grateful for because they are already in harmony with the good they desire. You must train yourself to live this way. Start with the small things. Be grateful for the light that filters through your window. Be grateful for the breath in your lungs, for the meals you eat, for the moments of peace. These are not insignificant, they are sacred, and the more you recognize them, the more you will find yourself surrounded by even greater expressions of abundance. Then take it further. Give thanks for what you desire as if it is already here. Give thanks for the check you will open tomorrow, for the message confirming a payment, for the surprise refund, the unknown benefactor, the shift in your financial reality. Speak these thank yous aloud. Feel them in your body. Let your imagination carry you into the scene where you've already received, and let your gratitude make it real. This is not pretending, it is creating. You are laying the foundation of your future through the power of inner thankfulness. You are acknowledging that the source of your supply is not the world, but the unseen force that responds to your belief. Gratitude multiplies because it is aligned with truth, the truth that you are already provided for, that life is already responding, that what you seek is seeking you. And the moment you begin to give thanks from that knowing, you awaken to the reality that the invisible is only waiting for your recognition to become visible. So give thanks now, not later. Give thanks not because you see it, but so you can see it. The grateful heart lives in the end, and in doing so brings the end to life. You have now seen that the flow of random checks, of unexpected abundance, of provision without explanation is not a miracle reserved for a few, but the natural outpouring of your inner state. You are not here to chase or strive, but to assume, persist, and receive. You are the cause. Your imagination is the source. Your belief is the mold. Your gratitude is the magnet. You do not need to know how, you only need to know who you are. And who you are is the one who lives in the end, the one who feels the joy of the money before it arrives, the one who walks in faith, not in fear, the one who gives thanks before the world reflects what has already been claimed within. The universe is not testing you, it is responding to you. With each assumption, each inner thank you, each moment of joyful expectancy, you are building the bridge of events that must lead you to the fulfillment of your desire. You are the dreamer and the doer, and the one who decides how life unfolds, not by force, but by feeling. So hold the feeling, cherish it, nourish it, return to it every day. Not as a task, but as your truth. For the more you dwell in the feeling of already having, the more the world must show you evidence that it is so. Let this be your rhythm. Assume, persist, and give thanks. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Thank you for daring to believe that something greater is already yours. And above all, thank you for remembering who you are, the one with the power to receive more and more simply by being still, imagining boldly, and trusting completely. The checks are already yours. Now go and receive them.
There comes a moment when the wisest action is not to act at all. Step back. Let your presence become a memory. Let your voice fade into silence. This isn't retreat. It's an assertion of your power. When you step back, you declare your independence from needing others to validate your worth. You no longer chase. You allow the tides to shift, for they will always. Is often misunderstood. Many think it implies a cold or disinterested withdrawal from life and relationships. But in truth, detachment is a profound act of inner freedom. To detach is to release one's tight grip on external outcomes, to let go of the endless tug of war that keeps our minds bound to expectations. It is not apathy. Rather, it is an empowered stance that roots itself in an understanding that everything we seek already exists within us. By no longer clinging to the approval, validation, or behavior of others, we free ourselves to live authentically, embracing an inner peace that does not rise or fall based on external circumstances. When you're truly detached, you realize that people and situations are not the source of your happiness or peace. These qualities arise from within. Attachment, however, leads to suffering because it ties your happiness to forces beyond your control. The nature of life is change. Relationships evolve. People's opinions shift and events unfold unpredictably. If your peace is dependent on any of these factors, it becomes fragile, always at risk of disruption. Detachment, therefore, is a way of aligning with the truth of life's impermanence. It allows you to embrace life fully while not being devastated by the natural ebb and flow of experiences. Detachment does not mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you stop loving or engaging with others deeply. Instead, it means you don't cling to them. You see them as individuals on their own paths, just as you are on yours. You can still love, still connect, and still invest yourself. But there's a fundamental difference. You are no longer possessed by a need for their acceptance, agreement, or validation. This stance enables you to love more freely, with less fear, as there's no longer a desperation to make things turn out a certain way. Your love becomes unconditional because it's rooted in your own inner security, not in a need to control. Imagine the peace that comes when you stop trying to force things to go your way. Detachment is liberation from this need. It removes the weight of expectations and allows you to accept what is, rather than constantly trying to reshape life into what you believe it should be. This shift in perspective creates a deeper trust in the process, in the unseen order guiding life. You begin to see that when you detach, you invite the natural flow of life to bring what is meant for you, often in ways you never could have orchestrated on your own. You open yourself to possibilities that are richer and more fulfilling than the ones your mind had envisioned, simply by stepping out of the way and letting life unfold. Detachment also allows you to respond rather than react. When you're attached to a specific outcome, it's easy to feel frustrated or anxious when things don't go as planned. You might react with anger, fear, or disappointment, which often leads to actions that only create further complications. But when you're detached, you can observe situations with a clear mind, responding calmly and wisely. You see events as neutral, as opportunities for growth, rather than as personal affronts. This clarity brings resilience, as you are no longer at the mercy of every twist and turn. In relationships, detachment can be transformative. Many of us enter relationships with unconscious expectations, assuming others will behave in ways that fulfill our own needs. When they don't, we feel hurt or betrayed, and the relationship suffers. Detachment frees you from this cycle. It lets you see the other person as they are, without projecting your desires onto them. You accept them fully, allowing for genuine connection rather than a relationship based on fulfilling conditions. Ironically, this often brings people closer, as they sense the freedom in being accepted without conditions or demands. They feel drawn to your calm and balanced energy. True detachment also means that you remain grounded in your own value. When you are attached to outcomes, you subconsciously seek validation from the external world, measuring your worth by how others perceive you or by your achievements. Detachment breaks this pattern. You come to understand that your worth is inherent, unchanging, and independent of any external validation. This self-assurance radiates outward, making you more confident and magnetic to others, who are naturally drawn to someone who exudes inner contentment and peace. In this way, detachment enhances your life by fostering relationships and opportunities that are aligned with your authentic self. There is a paradox in detachment. The more you release, the more life seems to come to you with ease. When you are no longer bound by the need for specific outcomes, you create space for new, unexpected blessings to flow into your life. You become receptive, open to the guidance and abundance of life, which can only reach you when you're not constantly trying to control its course. Detachment signals to the universe that you trust in its timing and wisdom. This trust, this surrender, draws to you the very things you once sought so fervently, now without the strain or struggle. Detachment is a journey, one that asks you to be patient with yourself. It's natural to feel attached, to care deeply, and to have desires. But the essence of detachment is not in denying these desires. It's in not letting them control you. It's about being fully alive, fully engaged, and fully free from dependency on any single outcome. In this state, you are no longer waiting for circumstances to align before you feel fulfilled. You are complete, whole, and at peace, regardless of what unfolds around you. The practice of detachment, then, is an art of living lightly yet deeply, of loving without possessing, of trusting without forcing. It is a reminder that everything in life flows and returns in cycles, and that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Embrace detachment and find that in letting go, you have gained the ultimate power. The power to be content no matter what. Is often mistaken for weakness or passivity, but it is, in fact, a profound source of strength. Silence has the ability to communicate in ways that words often cannot. When we choose silence over reaction, we make a statement, one that speaks volumes about our inner strength, self-control, and clarity. To be silent in situations that provoke, to refrain from defending oneself unnecessarily, or to simply observe rather than interject is a sign of a deep, unshakable inner power. This choice isn't about shrinking back. It's about standing firm, fully present without needing to seek validation or engage in unnecessary explanations. In a world full of noise, silence is a rare and invaluable power. Allows one to observe more clearly. When we silence our voice, we heighten our awareness, sharpening our ability to listen and see things as they truly are. This silence enables us to discern beyond the surface, allowing us to understand the unspoken, the subtle cues and dynamics at play in any situation. Most people are quick to speak, quick to react, eager to make their opinions known. Yet, in the act of stepping back and observing without immediate reaction, we gather insights and wisdom that often escape those who rush to fill the silence. This clarity gives us a profound advantage, enabling us to respond rather than react with greater precision and understanding. Also protects us. When we stay silent, particularly in tense or emotional situations, we conserve our energy, choosing not to waste it on conflicts or arguments that would drain us without any real benefit. Not every situation requires our involvement. Not every provocation deserves a response. Silence allows us to maintain our inner peace and balance. Words can entangle us, create misunderstandings, and commit us to positions that may not truly reflect our beliefs. Silence, however, is a sanctuary where we hold on to our power, refusing to be dragged into battles that serve no purpose. It is a quiet defiance that refuses to play by the usual rules of confrontation, and in doing so, it becomes a shield. We gain control over our emotions. In a heated moment, speaking out of anger or frustration can lead to regret. Words spoken in haste can wound, complicate, or escalate a situation beyond what was intended. Silence gives us the gift of time to think, to process, to understand our feelings before deciding whether to speak or not. This self-control strengthens us because it allows us to master our impulses, cultivating a sense of calm that others will notice and respect. Silence does not indicate a lack of feelings. Rather, it reflects the choice to manage those feelings with wisdom, restraint, and patience. Can often make us more influential. People are naturally drawn to those who speak less and listen more. When we do speak, our words carry weight because we are not constantly filling the air with them. In our silence, we create a space that others feel compelled to fill. When we finally choose to speak, people listen more attentively, sensing that what we say is meaningful and carefully considered. Silence, therefore, becomes a powerful tool in commanding respect and attention, without the need to demand it. Our restraint gives our words greater impact because they are rare, intentional, and thoughtful. Silence enables us to detach from the need for external validation. In our society, where people are often seeking approval or acknowledgement from others, silence represents a radical self-assurance. When we refrain from speaking, we show that we don't need to justify ourselves, explain every choice, or respond to every critique. This detachment reveals an inner confidence, a sense of self that isn't swayed by others' opinions or judgments. By staying silent, we affirm our own sense of worth without needing to prove it to anyone else. This form of silent confidence can be unsettling to those who expect reactions or explanations, as it disrupts the usual pattern of interaction. In difficult situations, silence can be a form of strength that demonstrates resilience and poise. When faced with criticism, misunderstanding, or even hostility, choosing silence shows that we are not easily shaken. It is a quiet reminder that we are grounded in our own truth, that our peace does not depend on others' perceptions or reactions. Silence, though often misinterpreted, is a powerful response to challenges. It reflects a maturity and stability that is unbothered by trivial matters or shallow judgments. By not responding, we show that we refuse to let external forces disrupt our inner stability. Silence allows us to connect with ourselves on a deeper level. In our own quiet company, we can reflect, meditate, and access the deeper wisdom within. Silence opens the door to self-discovery, helping us to understand our true thoughts, feelings, and desires. It gives us space to reconnect with our intuition and inner guidance, which is often drowned out by the constant noise of daily life. Through silence, we find clarity as well as the courage to be authentic. It is in the quiet moments that we come to know ourselves more deeply, realizing that we are enough as we are without the need to prove or explain. Then is not an absence but a powerful presence. It is the stillness that allows us to cultivate inner strength, clarity, and self-control. In a world where noise is constant and opinions are loud, silence is a rare and formidable gift. It is a strength that speaks without words, commanding respect, inviting peace, and fostering connection with ourselves and others. Silence is a conscious choice to hold our power, knowing that true strength often lies not in what we say, but in what we choose not to say. In silence, we find resilience, wisdom, and an unbreakable connection to the strength within. Trusting the law of attraction is about recognizing the profound connection between our inner thoughts and the experiences we draw into our lives. It's based on the belief that our minds are like magnets, constantly emitting energy that shapes our reality. By trusting this law, we understand that our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are powerful forces that determine what we attract, whether consciously or unconsciously. This trust involves a commitment to aligning our inner state with what we desire rather than what we fear or doubt. When we learn to focus on our desires with clarity, we enter a flow where the universe mirrors back our intentions, manifesting them in ways we often cannot anticipate. At the core of trusting the law of attraction is the realization that we live in a vibrational universe. Everything from our physical bodies to our thoughts and emotions has a vibrational frequency. Like frequencies attract, therefore, whatever frequency we emit, consciously or unconsciously, determines what we draw into our lives. When we focus on love, abundance, or success, we emit high frequencies that align with positive experiences. Conversely, when we dwell on worry, scarcity, or resentment, we attract circumstances that reflect those lower vibrations. Trusting the law means becoming aware of the vibrational quality of our thoughts and intentionally choosing ones that are in harmony with our desired reality. The law of attraction also means releasing the need for immediate results. Many people struggle with this as they expect quick outcomes and become discouraged when things don't instantly manifest. But the law of attraction is not a transaction or a tool for instant gratification. Trusting it requires patience and understanding that things unfold in their own time, and often in ways that surpass our expectations. When we become impatient, we disrupt the flow of manifestation by introducing doubt and frustration. Trust means knowing that our desires are already in motion, that the universe is aligning circumstances in ways we may not see, and that our role is to stay in a state of belief and openness, allowing things to unfold. One of the most powerful aspects of trusting the law of attraction is realizing that everything we need to manifest our desires is already within us. Often, people believe they need external validation or certain resources to make their dreams a reality, but true manifestation starts from within. By trusting that we already possess the qualities, insights, and capabilities required, we activate a sense of worthiness. This inner certainty creates a magnetic pull that draws to us the resources, people, and opportunities needed to realize our intentions. Trusting the law involves embodying our desires, acting as if what we seek is already ours, knowing that our internal state creates the external experience. Trust also requires releasing attachment to specific outcomes. Often we limit ourselves by envisioning rigid outcomes and specific paths. By doing so, we restrict the universe's potential to deliver what is truly best for us. Trusting the law of attraction means letting go of the how and embracing the possibility that what we receive might come in ways we hadn't anticipated. This openness creates space for the universe to work, bringing about results that align with our highest good, often in ways that exceed our expectations. When we let go of our need to control, we open the door for new possibilities to enter our lives. Furthermore, trusting the law of attraction means cultivating a sense of gratitude even before we see results. Gratitude is one of the most powerful vibrations and a direct way to align with what we want. When we express genuine gratitude for what we have and what we desire as though it's already here, we raise our vibrational frequency. This gratitude reinforces our trust, as it communicates to the universe that we already believe in the abundance around us. Through this feeling of thankfulness, we create a state of receptivity, signaling that we are ready to welcome our desires without resistance or doubt. Trusting the law of attraction also requires awareness of our self-talk. Many people unknowingly sabotage their intentions by engaging in negative self-talk, believing that they are not deserving, capable, or good enough. These limiting beliefs create blockages, as they emit a frequency of lack and inadequacy. Trust means consciously choosing empowering thoughts, even when the external reality has yet to align with them. It's about affirming our worth and maintaining faith in our vision, regardless of temporary setbacks or challenges. By nurturing positive self-talk, we align ourselves with the energy of our desires, allowing the universe to respond accordingly. Another essential aspect of trusting the law of attraction is surrounding ourselves with supportive energies. The people and environments we engage with can greatly influence our mental and emotional states. Trusting this law means choosing influences that uplift and encourage us, those that affirm our worth and potential. Negative or skeptical energies can often diminish our confidence, causing us to waver in our belief. Trusting the law of attraction isn't just about our internal thoughts, but also about creating a space that reflects positivity and alignment. By curating our environment, we reinforce our intention, making it easier to maintain trust and focus on what we desire. Trusting the law of attraction means taking inspired action. Manifestation is not merely about visualizing and waiting passively, it's about listening to the subtle nudges that guide us towards our goals. When we trust, we become attuned to these intuitive prompts, acting on them without hesitation. This action is not forced or frantic, but flows naturally from a place of confidence and clarity. Trusting the law of attraction means understanding that we are co-creators in the process, that our role is to take aligned steps toward our vision, knowing that every action, no matter how small, contributes to its manifestation. Trusting the law of attraction is about aligning with the energy of our desires, believing in their reality before they physically manifest, and cultivating a mindset that remains steadfast regardless of external conditions. It's a journey of self-discovery, as it asks us to recognize our worthiness and power to shape our lives. This trust is an ongoing practice, one that deepens as we see our desires unfold. By embracing this trust, we not only manifest our dreams, but transform ourselves, creating a life that reflects the abundance, love, and joy that were within us all along. The urge to control is something nearly all of us experience. We want to shape our environment, influence people around us, and secure outcomes that align with our desires. But beneath this urge lies a deeper struggle, the fear of uncertainty and vulnerability. We try to control because it gives us a sense of security, but in reality, it often leads to frustration, disappointment, and strained relationships. Letting go of this urge isn't about giving up on goals or dreams, it's about cultivating trust in ourselves, in others, and in life itself. Resisting the urge to control brings a profound sense of freedom and inner peace, allowing life to unfold in ways that often surpass our expectations. When we attempt to control every detail, we create a narrow, restricted path for ourselves. Control is inherently limited by our own perspectives, assumptions, and biases. We think we know what's best, but we can't possibly predict all the variables or potential outcomes. By trying to force things to go our way, we close ourselves off to other possibilities that could bring us growth, joy, or unexpected insights. Often life has plans that extend beyond what we can see or imagine. Resisting the urge to control means opening ourselves to these unknown possibilities, embracing a mindset of curiosity instead of one bound by rigid expectations. This desire for control also impacts our relationships. When we try to control others, their behaviors, decisions, or even emotions, we unknowingly create barriers. True connection with others can only thrive in an environment of respect and freedom. Trying to control someone else implies a lack of trust, sending the message that we don't believe in their ability to make their own choices. This undermines relationships, creating tension and resentment. By letting go of the need to control, we foster trust, allowing relationships to evolve naturally. When we accept people as they are rather than trying to mold them to fit our ideals, we open the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. The urge to control also empowers us to accept things as they are. Acceptance does not mean resignation, it means seeing situations clearly without imposing our own expectations onto them. When we accept reality as it is, we allow ourselves to work with it instead of against it. This practice fosters resilience, helping us to respond to challenges in constructive ways. Rather than feeling defeated by circumstances beyond our control, we learn to adapt and grow. Acceptance gives us the clarity to understand what can and cannot be changed, empowering us to invest our energy where it truly matters instead of exhausting ourselves trying to control the uncontrollable. The act of releasing control also deepens our connection with ourselves. Often our desire to control stems from an inner insecurity or fear. We believe that if we can just control certain aspects of our lives, we will feel safer or more fulfilled. But true security and fulfillment cannot be created by manipulating external factors, they are cultivated within. By turning inward, we can address the root of our need to control, discovering the fears and insecurities that drive us. This self-awareness allows us to heal and grow, replacing the need for control with a sense of inner peace and trust in our own resilience. Letting go of control encourages us to live in the present moment. When we try to control the future, we often miss out on the beauty and opportunities that exist here and now. The future is never certain, and when we are constantly trying to shape it, we disconnect from the present. By releasing control, we learn to appreciate what is in front of us, experiencing life fully instead of living in a state of constant anticipation or anxiety. This presence brings a greater sense of contentment and joy, allowing us to engage with life as it unfolds rather than obsessing over what might or might not happen. The journey of releasing control also requires trust in ourselves, in others, and in the natural flow of life. Trusting ourselves means believing that we have the strength and wisdom to navigate whatever comes our way, even when things don't go according to plan. Trusting others means recognizing that they are capable of making their own choices, learning from their own experiences, and growing in their own ways. Trusting life means understanding that we don't always have to have all the answers, that sometimes the best outcomes come from unexpected twists and turns. This trust frees us from the constant tension of trying to manage everything, allowing us to move through life with greater ease and openness. The urge to control doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means letting go of forced effort and learning to act from a place of intention rather than fear. When we release control, we can still set goals, make plans, and pursue our dreams. But instead of clinging tightly to specific outcomes, we learn to embrace flexibility, adapting to changes along the way. This approach allows us to stay aligned with our values and intentions without becoming rigid or overly fixated. We become like a tree that bends with the wind rather than snapping under pressure, resilient and adaptable. Releasing control also allows us to experience a profound sense of freedom. When we try to control every aspect of our lives, we place limitations on ourselves, creating unnecessary stress and pressure. By letting go, we free ourselves from the weight of trying to manage every outcome, allowing space for spontaneity, joy, and creativity. Life becomes a journey of discovery rather than a series of tasks to be meticulously managed. This freedom is liberating, as it allows us to experience life in all its richness, without the constant strain of trying to direct every detail. In letting go of control, we find ourselves able to flow with life instead of against it. Life is inherently unpredictable. No amount of planning or control can change that. When we stop fighting this truth, we gain a sense of harmony with the world around us. We learn to trust that challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities, that setbacks are not failures, but lessons. This mindset shift brings a deeper sense of peace, as we realize that we don't have to control life to find meaning or happiness. Instead, we can find fulfillment in embracing each moment as it comes, knowing that life often has a wisdom that surpasses our own. Resisting the urge to control allows us to cultivate a life of greater balance, freedom, and fulfillment. It opens our hearts to the present moment, deepens our connections with others, and fosters a sense of trust and resilience within ourselves. By letting go of the need to manage every outcome, we create space for growth, joy, and discovery. In this surrender, we find a strength that is rooted not in control, but in the ability to embrace life as it is, unpredictable, ever-changing, and filled with endless possibilities. There are times when stepping back and letting others feel our absence can be a powerful act. It's a way of establishing boundaries, of showing respect for ourselves, and of helping others appreciate our presence. Often people take us for granted, not because they are unkind, but because they become used to our constant availability. By stepping away, we remind them and ourselves of our value. Letting others feel our absence isn't about playing games or being vindictive. It's about reasserting a sense of balance, allowing others to see what we contribute, and creating space for reflection. Absence has a way of shining a light on things we often overlook. When we're constantly present, our actions, words, and support can fade into the background, becoming expected rather than appreciated. But the moment we remove ourselves, the void we leave can speak volumes. People start to notice what's missing, realizing how our contributions, companionship, or support added to their lives. It's a subtle yet powerful reminder that relationships are not one-sided, that reciprocity and acknowledgement are essential for meaningful connections. By allowing others to experience life without our consistent presence, we give them the opportunity to see the true weight and impact of what we bring. Creating space through absence also provides us with clarity. When we're constantly engaged, it's easy to lose sight of whether our actions are truly valued or merely taken for granted. Absence allows us to step back and observe how people respond to our distance. Do they reach out, show concern, or make an effort to reconnect? Or do they carry on as if nothing's changed? The way others respond can reveal a lot about the dynamics of the relationship, helping us discern who genuinely values our presence and who may only be relying on us out of convenience. This clarity can empower us to make better choices about where to invest our time and energy. Stepping back can also encourage personal growth, both for ourselves and for others. When we're constantly available to offer support, advice, or companionship, we sometimes inadvertently prevent others from learning to navigate challenges on their own. So, by creating distance, we allow people to rely on themselves, to confront situations without our immediate intervention, and to develop their own resilience. For us, stepping back offers a chance to focus on our own growth. We can invest in our own passions, nurture our mental and emotional well-being, and rediscover who we are outside of our relationships. Absence in this way becomes an act of self-love and self-respect, reminding us that we are whole and complete on our own. Absence is a way of setting boundaries, a reminder that our time, energy, and presence are not to be taken for granted. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships. They prevent burnout and resentment by ensuring that our needs are acknowledged alongside others. When we are constantly available, we sometimes forget to care for ourselves. By stepping back, we're establishing a boundary that says, I am here for you, but I also value myself. This boundary doesn't mean we care any less. It simply means we recognize our own worth and expect others to do the same. Letting others feel our absence can also strengthen relationships by bringing a renewed sense of appreciation. Absence creates space for reflection both for us and for those we step away from. When we are no longer present, those close to us have a chance to realize what we mean to them. They may come to appreciate the small acts of kindness, the support, and the presence they once took for granted. And when we eventually reconnect, there is often a deeper level of appreciation, a renewed commitment to valuing each other. The time apart allows both sides to see the relationship with fresh eyes, fostering a deeper and more balanced connection. It's also important to understand that letting others feel our absence is not about manipulation. It's about honoring ourselves and respecting the natural rhythms of relationships. Sometimes we may feel compelled to give endlessly, to always be available, especially for those we care about. But relationships are healthiest when they are built on mutual respect and understanding, not dependency or obligation. By stepping back, we're giving others the chance to meet us halfway, to show us that they're willing to invest in the relationship as much as we are. In this way, absence becomes a test of reciprocity, encouraging balance rather than dependence. Absence also reminds us that we do not need to be constantly present to make a difference. There is strength in silence, power in distance. By stepping back, we allow our actions to speak for themselves. We learn that we don't need to always be there to be valued. Our presence is felt even in our absence. People who genuinely care will make an effort to reach out, to connect, to show that they miss us. Those who don't may simply fade away, revealing that their connection to us was never truly meaningful. This is not something to fear but to embrace, as it frees us to focus on relationships that are built on mutual respect and appreciation. Letting others feel our absence helps us cultivate independence. It reminds us that we are not defined by our roles in others' lives. Our worth isn't tied solely to how we support others, how much we give, or how often we're present. We are individuals with our own dreams, passions, and identities. When we allow ourselves to step away, we give ourselves the chance to nurture these parts of ourselves, to rediscover our own sense of purpose outside of our relationships. This independence strengthens us, making us more grounded and resilient, less susceptible to the shifting dynamics of others' needs and expectations. Letting others feel our absence is about balancing our love for others with our love for ourselves. It's about understanding that we don't need to be constantly present to be valued, that our presence should be appreciated, not expected or taken for granted. When we resist the urge to overgive or constantly be there, we affirm our own worth, inviting others to appreciate us in a deeper way. This act of stepping back allows us to maintain healthy, fulfilling relationships built on mutual respect, genuine care, and a shared understanding of each other's value. In this space, relationships can thrive, and we can truly appreciate the beauty of connection without losing ourselves in it. There comes a time in life when you recognize the subtle shifts in power dynamics around you. Power is not always about authority, titles, or control. It's often a quiet energy exchange that can determine the quality of our relationships, our confidence, and ultimately our lives. Watching the shift in power doesn't require grand gestures or confrontations. Instead, it involves self-awareness, restraint, and the ability to understand and leverage the unspoken influence that resides within each of us. As we navigate relationships and social settings, observing these shifts allows us to see where our energy flows, how it impacts others, and how we can use this understanding to elevate ourselves without engaging in direct conflict. Power dynamics are at play in all relationships, personal, professional, and social. Often we hand over our power unconsciously, thinking that by pleasing others or fulfilling their expectations, we'll be accepted or valued. But true power never stems from seeking validation outside ourselves. Real power lies in the ability to remain grounded and unaffected by the opinions or actions of others. When you understand this, you'll notice a shift. People start responding differently when you no longer bend to their will or seek their approval. They realize that you are not easily influenced, that you have a solid core, and that you respect yourself enough to set boundaries. Watching the shift in power begins with self-mastery. When you know who you are, your worth isn't contingent on someone else's acknowledgement or rejection. You stand firm in your values, recognizing that power starts from within. This doesn't mean you disregard others or dismiss collaboration. It simply means you're anchored in your identity, and your actions reflect your integrity, not someone else's expectations. As a result, people around you begin to sense a change. They may initially resist or challenge it, but eventually they start to respect the boundaries you've set. The energy shifts, and you find yourself in a position where your presence commands respect without the need for aggression or assertion. One of the most significant indicators of a shift in power is silence. Silence can be one of the most powerful tools in any situation. When you're not rushing to fill gaps in conversation, when you don't react impulsively, or when you don't feel the need to defend every action, you hold a quiet strength. People sense this, and they often become more reflective in your presence. They may even become uncomfortable, because silence, when used effectively, has a way of revealing truths that words can often hide. By maintaining silence, you allow others to see the weight of their own actions and words. You demonstrate that you're not swayed by petty conflicts or the need for validation. Non-reactivity is another important component of observing power shifts. When someone is used to getting a specific reaction from you, whether it's anger, appeasement, or submission, they're maintaining a certain level of control over you. By choosing not to react, by pausing and observing instead, you alter the dynamic. Suddenly, they're left to deal with their own emotions and motives without your participation. This withdrawal of energy is powerful. It shows that you're in control of your responses, that you're not a puppet to others' provocations or manipulations. The shift here is subtle but impactful. They begin to understand that you can't be easily swayed or influenced, and the balance of power starts to tip in your favor. To truly embrace this shift in power, you must also practice detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not emotionally invested in trying to control outcomes or people. Detachment is freedom. When you're not tied to the need to manage every situation or dictate every interaction, you hold an elevated form of power. Others will recognize that you're not looking to control or manipulate, and this often inspires a deeper level of respect. People sense when you're genuinely free from attachment, and they realize that you're not dependent on their approval or validation. This independence is magnetic, and it naturally shifts the balance of power in your direction. Self-assurance is another component of this shift. When you project confidence, not arrogance, but genuine self-assurance, people are drawn to it. They feel the steadiness of your presence, and in turn, they may begin to question their own approach. People who were once dominant or controlling may find themselves unsure of how to interact with you. They may soften, recognizing that their usual tactics have little effect. In relationships, when you are secure in yourself, the other person can no longer leverage your insecurities or weaknesses. This awareness shifts power in subtle but profound ways, allowing you to remain true to yourself without bending under pressure. A vital part of watching the shift in power is also observing how others treat you when you respect yourself. People treat us in alignment with the energy we project. When you respect yourself, when you value your time and your well-being, others will naturally start to follow suit. This isn't about demanding respect, it's about embodying it so fully that it becomes part of the way people perceive you. People who previously took you for granted may become more considerate, realizing that you are no longer willing to overextend yourself to accommodate their needs. This shift creates healthier, more balanced relationships, as people recognize the limits of your generosity and presence. Setting boundaries is also fundamental in this process. Boundaries are not walls but guidelines for how we want to be treated. When you set clear boundaries and consistently uphold them, people understand that there are limits to how far they can go. This changes the power dynamics because boundaries are a form of self-respect and self-protection. People who honor these boundaries are those who respect you, while those who challenge them often reveal their true intentions. The shift in power here is decisive. You are no longer at the mercy of others' demands or expectations, and you reclaim your right to define the terms of your interactions. A shift in power comes from authenticity. Authenticity means you are who you say you are. There's no pretense or facade. When you're authentic, you're unshakable. You're not acting or pretending to be something you're not, and this makes you resilient. Authenticity is a form of quiet strength that speaks for itself. People respect those who are unapologetically themselves because they sense that authenticity is rare. As you embrace your truth, others begin to see the real you, and they're less likely to try to control or manipulate. They see that you're not playing games, that you don't wear masks, and this authenticity establishes a form of power that's grounded, unwavering, and deeply respected. Watching the shift in power is an internal journey of growth, strength, and self-discovery. It requires patience and consistency, but it leads to a profound understanding of yourself and your relationships. As you stand firm in your truth, embrace silence, practice non-reactivity, and maintain healthy boundaries, you create a presence that commands respect. This shift is subtle yet transformative, allowing you to navigate life with dignity and confidence, free from the need to control or be controlled. Through this journey, you learn that true power lies in knowing who you are, respecting yourself, and allowing others to witness that quiet strength. In a world that often encourages us to chase, to persuade, and to constantly prove ourselves, there is a profound strength in stepping back and allowing others to come to us of their own will. This approach requires trust, patience, and self-assurance, but its rewards are deep and lasting. Letting people come to us, whether in relationships, friendships, or professional endeavors, means respecting both our own value and the freedom of others. It's a way of fostering genuine connections, built on mutual appreciation rather than dependency or obligation. When we choose this path, we're making a statement about our self-worth, acknowledging that we don't need to control or pursue in order to receive what's meant for us. At the heart of this approach is the understanding that authentic connections cannot be forced. When we try to control others or demand their attention, we may get a temporary response, but we rarely foster genuine, lasting relationships. People are naturally drawn to those who know their own worth and who are content within themselves. By letting others come to us on their terms, we're inviting connections that are rooted in sincerity, where people approach us because they genuinely want to, not because they feel pressured or obligated. This leads to relationships that are richer, more fulfilling, and more enduring. Trust is essential in this process. Trusting that what's meant for us will come in its own time requires a deep sense of faith, both in ourselves and in the flow of life. We must trust that we are worthy of good things and that we don't need to prove our value constantly. This trust allows us to release the need for control, to stop chasing, and to simply be. When we operate from this place of trust, we radiate a calm confidence that others find attractive and magnetic. People sense when we are at ease, and they are more likely to be drawn to us when they feel that we are complete within ourselves. Patience is equally important. Letting others come to us means accepting that we may not get what we want immediately or in the way we envisioned. Patience teaches us to embrace the natural rhythm of things rather than trying to rush or force outcomes. When we allow others the time and space to make their own choices, we're giving them the freedom to come forward because they genuinely desire our presence. This space for choice is invaluable. It's the foundation of respect, both for ourselves and for the other person. True connection isn't about instant gratification, it's about building something meaningful that stands the test of time. Stepping back also cultivates self-assurance. When we're not constantly seeking approval or chasing after others, we're showing that we know our own worth. This confidence speaks louder than words. People are naturally drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't feel the need to impress or conform. By embracing this self-assurance, we create an inner stability that is attractive to others. They see that we're not needy, that we don't require their validation to feel complete, and this independence often encourages them to move toward us with genuine interest. Another key aspect of letting others come to us is the cultivation of inner peace. When we're not constantly looking outward, seeking validation, or trying to make things happen, we free up energy to focus on our own growth and fulfillment. This shift inward creates a sense of peace that others can feel when they're around us. People are naturally drawn to those who emanate calm and serenity. When we're at peace within ourselves, we're not projecting our needs or insecurities onto others, and this creates an environment where people feel comfortable approaching us, knowing they're not being manipulated or controlled. Allowing others to come to us of their own will also mean embracing detachment. Detachment doesn't mean indifference, rather, it's the freedom that comes from not clinging to a specific outcome. When we're detached, we can genuinely enjoy the present moment without worrying about what will happen next. This openness creates a welcoming energy. People sense that we're not attached to how they respond, and this lack of pressure makes them feel free to engage in a way that's authentic. Detachment is a powerful form of self-respect. It's a recognition that we're whole as we are, and that we're open to receiving, but not dependent on it for our happiness. Respecting the freedom of others is fundamental to letting them come of their own will. True respect means allowing others to make their own choices without interference or pressure. This respect is magnetic because it's rare. People are often used to feeling judged or pressured in their interactions. When we respect their freedom, they feel safe, knowing they can approach us without fear of judgment or expectation. This creates a foundation of trust and equality in the relationship, allowing for a deeper, more honest connection to form. One of the most empowering aspects of letting others come to us is the realization that we do not need to chase to feel fulfilled. This approach teaches us to focus on ourselves, to cultivate our own joy and purpose, and to trust that the right people will recognize our worth without needing persuasion. When we live in alignment with our true selves, when we honor our own path, we naturally attract people who resonate with us on a deep level. We're no longer seeking external validation because we're content within, and this fulfillment draws people who are similarly grounded and genuine. This way of life is about creating a balance between giving and receiving. It's a reminder that relationships are a dance of mutual respect, where both parties choose each other freely. When we let others come to us, we're not holding back our love or interest, we're simply honoring the natural flow of connection, trusting that genuine relationships don't need force to thrive. We're recognizing that those who are meant to be in our lives will come, and those who aren't will leave, and both are equally valuable lessons. Letting people come of their own will is a powerful affirmation of self-worth. It's a reminder that we're deserving of relationships where we don't have to perform or pretend. By embracing patience, trust, detachment, and respect for others' freedom, we create a magnetic presence that attracts people who appreciate us for who we truly are. This approach brings a sense of calm, a recognition that we don't need to control the world around us to find fulfillment. We are whole, we are enough, and in this wholeness we find the strength to let go, to step back, and to let others come or not as they choose. The ones who do are the ones worth keeping, for they come freely and in their freedom, they honor our own. In conclusion, embracing the philosophy of letting others come to us of their own will is a powerful testament to our self-worth and understanding of authentic connections. By practicing patience, trust, and respect for the freedom of others, we cultivate an environment where genuine relationships can thrive without pressure or manipulation. This approach not only fosters deeper connections, but also reinforces our inner peace and self-assurance, allowing us to engage with the world from a place of strength rather than neediness. There is a rare strength in silence, a potency not seen by many. While the world urges us to explain, to prove, to argue our worth, there is a deeper wisdom in refraining, in letting the unsaid be the keeper of your peace. When you choose silence, you are not submitting to weakness. No, you are harnessing a power beyond words, a power rooted in the realm of the unseen. In a world that values loud declarations and constant communication, silence is often misunderstood, seen as weakness or passivity. But silence holds a unique power, a quiet strength that, when cultivated, elevates one beyond the noise, beyond the need for validation, and beyond the incessant demands of the external world. Choosing silence, especially in moments where speaking is expected or reaction is provoked, reveals a mastery over oneself, a calm that stands apart from the turmoil of emotions and impulses. It's in these pauses that true wisdom resides. Silence is a boundary. It shields you from distractions, from those who seek to sway or diminish you with their words or influence. When you choose not to react, when you refrain from engaging with energies that are draining or negative, you protect your own. This silence, however, is not an empty void, it's a shield, an invisible armor that safeguards your mind and spirit from the forces that would pull you into unnecessary conflict. By staying silent, you conserve your energy, directing it where it is most needed, where it can serve you rather than scattering it on fruitless exchanges. When you choose silence, you are not only guarding your energy, but also allowing yourself to act with greater intention. Words are often reactionary, spoken in haste or anger. But silence, on the other hand, gives you the space to step back, to consider, and to respond rather than react. Through silence, you learn patience, you train yourself to wait, to let emotions settle, to see a situation for what it truly is, rather than what your initial reaction dictates. In that stillness, clarity emerges, allowing you to perceive things others miss, to understand layers beyond the surface, and to approach life's complexities with a clear and composed mind. There is also a profound power in what is unsaid. When you refrain from sharing your every thought or revealing your innermost plans, you retain a mystery, a sacredness to your inner world that others cannot touch. Not everyone needs to know your intentions, your desires, or your beliefs. By keeping these to yourself, you prevent outside influences from diluting or distorting what you hold dear. In silence, you can nurture your dreams and visions without the interference or judgment of others. You let your ideas germinate in a protected space, hidden from the scrutiny of others, allowing them to take root and grow strong before they are ready to be shared. Silence is also an expression of confidence. In a society that often equates confidence with loudness and self-assurance with boasting, silence is a quiet assertion of one's worth. It's a reminder that you do not need to prove yourself to anyone, that you are content in knowing your value without broadcasting it to the world. Those who are secure in themselves do not feel compelled to defend or explain their actions or beliefs. They understand that true strength lies in restraint. It is a silent, unshakable confidence that speaks louder than words, commanding respect without the need for validation or applause. In this way, silence becomes transformative. It brings a serenity that's unassailable, a peace that cannot be shaken by others' opinions or judgments. Through silence, you gain control over your reactions, allowing you to move through life with a steady, unflappable calm. You become the eye of the storm, untouched by the chaos around you, observing, choosing when and how to engage. You retain control over your inner world, keeping it free from the intrusions of those who might seek to disturb it. The power of silence is the power of self-mastery. It is the ability to hold your ground, to let go of the need for external approval, and to direct your energy towards what truly matters. In silence, there is strength, resilience, and an unspoken confidence that nothing in the world can diminish. It is here, in the quiet depths of silence, that you reclaim your power, finding clarity, purpose, and peace. Silence, then, is not merely the absence of words, it is the presence of wisdom, intention, and unwavering strength. In a world constantly buzzing with noise, distractions, and the expectations of others, preserving your inner peace is not merely an option, it is essential. Inner peace is the sanctuary within, the calm space that allows you to navigate life's storms without being thrown off course. To protect this peace is to protect your well-being, your clarity, and the truest parts of yourself from the pressures and stresses that can otherwise consume you. It is in this inner peace that you find the strength to remain steady, no matter what chaos may surround you. Protecting your inner peace means learning to say no to the things, people, and situations that disrupt your balance. It means discerning between what nurtures your soul and what drains it. There will always be demands for your attention, and not all of them are worthy of your energy. When you guard your peace, you establish boundaries not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. These boundaries serve as a line that others cannot cross, a reminder that your well-being is not negotiable. Every no spoken from a place of self-care strengthens your inner peace, reinforcing your dedication to maintaining a balanced and harmonious inner life. In preserving your inner peace, you also protect yourself from the influence of negativity. The world is filled with people who will try to project their frustrations, judgments, and insecurities onto you. But when you make peace your priority, you become more discerning about the energy you allow into your life. You recognize that not every opinion needs to be heeded, not every comment needs a response, and not every challenge requires engagement. By choosing what you give your attention to, you create a shield against unnecessary disturbances. This act of preservation is not about escaping reality, it's about cultivating a state of mind where you can observe without absorbing, where you can witness the noise without letting it penetrate your core. Inner peace also comes from releasing the need for control. Much of life is beyond our grasp, and attempting to control everything leads to tension, frustration, and ultimately burnout. To preserve your peace, you must learn the art of letting go of accepting what you cannot change and focusing instead on what you can. This surrender does not mean passivity, rather. It's a recognition that peace cannot coexist with the constant struggle to dominate every aspect of life. By embracing the flow, by accepting what is, you release yourself from the grip of anxiety and enter a state of ease. You learn to trust in the natural unfolding of life, confident that whatever comes, you will face it with resilience and calm. Maintaining your inner peace also requires a commitment to self-awareness. The journey inward allows you to recognize the thoughts, habits, and beliefs that disturb your equilibrium. Often we hold on to past hurts, regrets, or worries about the future, all of which disrupt our peace. But by cultivating mindfulness and awareness, you can identify these mental patterns and gently let them go. You begin to see that peace is not something to be found outside yourself, it is a state you create within. When you are mindful, you stay present, grounded in the here and now, unburdened by the weight of the past or the anxieties of the future. Preserving your inner peace involves taking time for solitude and reflection. The constant demands of modern life can make it easy to lose touch with yourself, to become overwhelmed by the expectations of others. Solitude allows you to reconnect with your essence, to remember who you are beyond roles and labels. In moments of quiet, you can recalibrate, recenter, and restore the parts of yourself that daily life may have worn down. It's in these times of solitude that your inner peace is renewed, as you reconnect with what truly matters to you and release what no longer serves. To preserve your inner peace is to commit to self-compassion. Often we are our own harshest critics, berating ourselves for mistakes or failures. But inner peace cannot thrive in an environment of self-judgment. When you are kind to yourself, when you forgive yourself, you foster a gentle space within, one where peace can flourish. Self-compassion allows you to move forward without the baggage of guilt or shame, to approach each day with a lightness that brings peace into your every moment. To protect your inner peace, you make a profound statement that your well-being, clarity, and joy are worth more than the noise, the drama, and the demands of the external world. You cultivate a strength that is unwavering, a calm that becomes your foundation, enabling you to live authentically, resiliently, and peacefully. Inner peace, once preserved, becomes the compass that guides you through life, a steady reminder of who you are and what truly matters. In a world where people often feel compelled to explain, justify, and verbalize every ambition, belief, and achievement, there is profound wisdom in letting actions speak for themselves. True influence is not derived from words alone, rather, it's the quiet consistency of one's actions that conveys the real message. When you choose to express yourself through what you do, rather than what you say, you develop a form of authenticity that resonates more deeply with others and brings clarity to your life's path. Actions carry a weight that words simply cannot. Words are often subject to interpretation, sometimes even misunderstood, but actions reveal your intentions with unmistakable clarity. They require no further explanation, no embellishment, no need to convince. An action done with purpose and integrity speaks to the truth of who you are. It communicates sincerity, effort, and dedication in a way that words alone never could. When you allow actions to be your voice, you eliminate the possibility of misinterpretation, creating a language of consistency and truth that others can recognize and respect. Actions reveal the depth of your commitment. Talk can be easy, promises can be made, goals declared, and visions painted in words, but it's in the doing that these words are tested. It's not enough to tell people what you plan to accomplish, or who you hope to be. Real change and growth are reflected in what you consistently choose to do. When you act on your intentions, you demonstrate that your words have substance, that your beliefs are more than ideas, they are realities in motion. The courage to pursue your goals, even in silence, marks the difference between empty declarations and genuine progress. Letting actions speak for you also protects your energy. Explaining yourself or defending your decisions can be draining and often unnecessary. There will always be those who question, doubt, or even discourage you. But when you let your actions do the talking, you no longer feel compelled to answer every critique or address every skeptic. You reserve your energy for the things that matter, for the actions that move you closer to your goals. This quiet focus allows you to stay committed to your path without getting sidetracked by the need for external validation. By letting actions speak for you, you also cultivate humility and grace. When your actions align with your values, you create a natural humility that requires no fanfare. There's no need to boast or advertise. Your life's work and dedication become evident in what you build, create, and pursue. This kind of humility is rare and powerful, rooted not in seeking recognition, but in the pure fulfillment of living according to your purpose. By remaining humble, you show others that true strength lies not in the need to be seen or heard, but in the quiet dedication to one's principles and passions. Actions not only reveal who you are to others, but also reinforce your own identity and values. Each choice you make, each step you take toward your goals, becomes a building block of your character. In the absence of words, you gain clarity on who you are, unclouded by external opinions or distractions. You learn that identity is not something to be constantly explained, it is something to be lived. Every action you take reinforces your self-image, solidifying your understanding of what matters to you and what you are willing to work for. There is also a great deal of respect that comes from allowing your actions to define you. People admire those who live their truth without the need to boast or convince others of their worth. When you focus on acting rather than talking, you embody the qualities of discipline, perseverance, and integrity. These traits speak loudly to those around you, creating a ripple effect that inspires others to act with the same commitment. By staying true to your path and letting your actions lead the way, you inspire others without having to say a word. Letting actions speak for you is a choice to live with authenticity, humility, and purpose. It is a reminder that words are fleeting, but actions leave a lasting legacy. Every decision, every effort, every small step contributes to the larger narrative of who you are and what you stand for. When you choose to act rather than explain, you walk in alignment with your values, inviting others to see the reality of your intentions through the quiet persistence of your efforts. In this silent strength, you find a peace that comes from knowing that you are true to yourself, that your life is not defined by what you say, but by what you consistently do. This is the essence of integrity, the true mark of character, and the most powerful statement you can make. Silence is often underestimated in its capacity to shield and protect. In a world filled with constant chatter, opinions, and conflicts, silence serves as a refuge, a buffer that separates us from the onslaught of negativity around us. To use silence as a shield is to intentionally distance oneself from the energies and influences that do not serve, protecting both mental and emotional well-being. Choosing silence in the face of negativity is not avoidance or passivity, it is a conscious act of self-preservation, a choice to maintain one's peace and integrity above all. When negativity arises, whether through harsh words, criticism, gossip, or outright conflict, the impulse to respond can be strong. After all, we often feel compelled to defend ourselves or to assert our perspective in the face of misunderstanding. Yet silence, when used with intention, allows us to step back and disengage from situations that would otherwise consume our energy. By not reacting, by choosing silence instead, we retain control over ourselves and our emotions. Where silence becomes a shield that prevents negativity from taking root within us, enabling us to observe without absorbing, to witness without becoming entangled, is a powerful tool for maintaining emotional stability. Words once spoken can carry unintended weight and consequence, further escalating conflicts or deepening misunderstandings. Silence, on the other hand, creates a space between you and the negativity directed toward you. It acts as a neutral ground, allowing you to process and understand without the immediacy of reaction. This space is invaluable, as it provides the clarity needed to discern what truly deserves your attention and what does not. When you choose silence over reaction, you give yourself the opportunity to act thoughtfully, maintaining your composure and avoiding the emotional toll that can come from reactive engagement. Silence can act as a boundary, a quiet, unspoken limit that others learn to respect. When people realize that you do not react to provocations or entertain negativity, they are less likely to bring such energies into your space. Silence becomes a non-verbal signal that you will not participate in or encourage negativity. In this way, silence fosters a peaceful environment around you, creating an atmosphere where positive interactions are more likely to flourish. Rather than inviting confrontation, your silence communicates a message of strength and self-respect, one that deters others from trying to disturb your calm. Using silence as a shield also teaches you the art of detachment. When you refrain from engaging with negativity, you learn to separate yourself from other people's emotions and expectations. You realize that you are not responsible for others' reactions or projections, nor do you have to let them affect your own state of mind. This detachment is liberating. It allows you to observe situations from a more objective perspective, unclouded by the emotions that can arise in the heat of the moment. Through silence, you become more grounded, less susceptible to the moods and opinions of those around you. You hold your peace within, untouched by external turbulence. Silence allows you to cultivate a greater sense of inner peace. Constantly engaging in or reacting to negativity is mentally and emotionally exhausting. It drains your focus and distracts from the things that truly matter to you. By choosing silence, you conserve your energy, redirecting it toward constructive pursuits that uplift and fulfill you. The energy you save from not reacting to every negative word or action is energy you can devote to your growth, your goals, and your happiness. Silence, then, is not just a defense mechanism, it is a way to ensure that your energy is spent wisely and purposefully. There is also an element of humility and wisdom in using silence as a shield. It reflects an understanding that not every battle is worth fighting, and that not every comment requires a response. It's an acknowledgement that often people's negativity has more to do with their own struggles than with you. By choosing silence, you avoid getting caught up in issues that are not truly yours to solve. You rise above petty conflicts and low vibrations, keeping your focus on what truly matters. Silence becomes a statement of your self-respect and a testament to your strength. In choosing silence, you cultivate resilience. You train yourself to withstand the provocations and judgments of others without letting them disturb your inner peace. This resilience empowers you to face challenges with a calm, collected mind, unshaken by external negativity. Over time, this practice of silence strengthens your ability to remain centered and grounded in all circumstances, building a quiet but unbreakable fortitude within. Silence as a shield against negativity is a choice to protect your peace, to honor your boundaries, and to reserve your energy for what truly aligns with your purpose. It is a quiet, powerful act of self-respect that ensures you remain unaffected by the storms of negativity around you. In your silence, you find strength, resilience, and a sanctuary that no external force can disrupt. Silence becomes a fortress, safeguarding your spirit and allowing you to move through life with unwavering calm and clarity. There is an immense, often underestimated strength in choosing not to react. In a world that values quick responses and immediate reactions, refraining from responding can seem passive or weak. Yet in truth, it takes a high level of self-discipline and emotional intelligence to hold back, to resist the urge to defend, explain, or counter every word or action that comes your way. By choosing not to react, you preserve your power, maintain control over your emotions, and ultimately command more respect from others and from yourself. Not reacting provides a moment of pause, a chance to step back, observe, and assess a situation from a distance. Emotions are powerful and can drive us to say or do things we may later regret. When you refrain from reacting impulsively, you give yourself space to process and respond thoughtfully, if necessary. This pause can be transformative. It prevents you from being swayed by anger, frustration, or other reactive emotions, allowing you to see things from a more grounded perspective. In that moment of silence, you retain control, ensuring that whatever decision you make is aligned with your true intentions rather than fleeting emotions. By choosing not to react, you also protect your peace. Life is filled with challenges, and people may say or do things that trigger, upset, or provoke you. Reacting to every slight or criticism can be exhausting, draining you of your mental and emotional energy. Not every opinion requires a response. Not every challenge deserves engagement, and not every criticism is worth your time. When you learn to let go of the need to respond to negativity, you save your energy for what truly matters. By letting situations pass without reaction, you rise above them, keeping your focus and energy centered on your own path and goals. Choosing silence over reaction also communicates confidence. People who feel secure in themselves do not need to prove anything to others. They don't feel compelled to defend themselves at every turn or counter every judgment. This quiet confidence is powerful and often commands more respect than loud reactions. By holding back, you show that your worth and values are not up for debate, that you are grounded in who you are regardless of others' opinions. In not reacting, you communicate that you are unshaken, that you do not need validation, and that your strength is independent of external influences. Furthermore, choosing not to react can shift the dynamics of a situation. When someone is trying to provoke you, your lack of response can disarm them. People who aim to upset or control you rely on your reaction. Without it, they lose their power. In this way, silence becomes a boundary that subtly conveys, "You cannot disturb my peace." Rather than getting entangled in someone else's negativity, you create a protective barrier around yourself, demonstrating that you are not a participant in their game. This boundary is both respectful and firm, showing that you value your own well-being over engaging in unnecessary conflict. Not reacting is also an act of self-respect. When you choose to remain silent in the face of provocation, you honor your own worth. You recognize that your peace is more valuable than any temporary satisfaction that a reaction might bring. This self-respect strengthens your sense of identity and teaches others how to treat you. It sets a standard. You will not allow anyone to pull you into negativity or disrupt your calm. You become the master of your reactions, no longer swayed by external pressures, but grounded in your own values and self-respect. In choosing not to react, you cultivate resilience and inner strength. By letting go of the need to respond to every conflict, you develop a fortified inner peace that is not easily shaken. Over time, this practice builds a strong sense of self-control, helping you withstand challenges with grace and patience. You become less reactive, more centered, and ultimately more in tune with yourself and your goals. This resilience is invaluable, empowering you to handle life's difficulties with a calm, composed mind that is resistant to external disturbances. There is profound strength in non-reaction. It is not a sign of weakness but of a quiet, inner power that does not seek validation. By choosing silence over reaction, you protect your peace, communicate confidence, and honor your self-worth. You cultivate resilience and learn the art of detachment, allowing you to move through life with a grounded clarity that is untouched by the chaos around you. This hidden strength becomes a foundation, a source of inner fortitude that enables you to face whatever comes with composure and grace. In choosing not to react, you embody a silent strength that resonates far beyond words, a strength that commands respect and reflects the profound depth of your character. In a world where sharing is encouraged and often expected, there is a quiet, powerful wisdom in guarding your dreams within the sacred space of silence. Dreams are delicate in their early stages, like seeds planted in fertile soil. They need time to grow strong roots before facing the elements of the outside world. When you choose to keep your dreams within, you protect them from the scrutiny, doubt, and influence of others. In silence, you create a sanctuary where your aspirations can grow freely, untouched by opinions or judgments. This silence becomes a nurturing womb, shielding your dreams as they take shape, allowing them to develop in purity and strength. Guarding your dreams within silence also shields them from the potentially limiting beliefs of others. Well-meaning friends, family, or colleagues may cast doubt, question your plans, or voice concerns based on their own fears or limitations. These external voices can cloud your vision, casting shadows of uncertainty over the pure, unformed dream you hold inside. By keeping your dreams to yourself, you protect them from these external influences, allowing them to grow without the weight of others' opinions. Silence becomes a form of freedom, giving your dreams the space to develop fully in alignment with your authentic desires, rather than being shaped or compromised by others' expectations. Holding your dreams in silence builds a quiet inner strength. When you resist the urge to share every thought, every ambition, you cultivate discipline and patience. You learn to rely on your inner guidance rather than seeking external validation. In this silence, you build a stronger connection to your intuition, trusting your own inner compass rather than the feedback of others. This strengthens your resolve and deepens your commitment to your goals. By not sharing, you ensure that your motivation comes from within, creating a powerful, unwavering force that is immune to outside judgment. Keeping your dreams within the womb of silence also creates a space for reflection and clarity. When you are not preoccupied with explaining your dreams to others, you can focus more deeply on what truly matters to you. Silence allows you to explore your dreams without distraction, to refine and reshape them according to your own vision. In this space, you can examine your motivations, adjust your goals, and align your dreams with your values. This inner work is essential, as it prepares you to pursue your dreams with a clear and purposeful intent, free from the noise and expectations of the world. My friends, understand that being alone is a calling, a sacred initiation, crafted not as punishment, but as preparation. In solitude, you aren't abandoned, you're invited to uncover the essence of divinity dwelling within you. Imagine the silence that surrounds you as a temple, a space where every distraction falls away, leaving only you and the Creator of all things. In the silence of solitude, we find a divine invitation. Many see aloneness as loneliness or as something to escape, but this experience is in fact a sacred preparation, a period of divine crafting where God molds you for a higher purpose. Often, when we are surrounded by others, our focus is directed outward, and we respond to the demands of social norms, to the expectations of family, friends, and society. But when we are alone, stripped of distractions and obligations, we begin to truly understand who we are and what we are meant to become. Imagine that being alone is a place where you can finally lay down the weight of societal conditioning. From the time we are born, we are told who we should be, what we should want, and where we should go. This conditioning runs deep, and it forms layers over our authentic selves, masking our true desires and dreams. In aloneness, these layers begin to fall away. You are left with nothing but the raw, unpolished version of yourself. This unpolished self may seem unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, but it is also free from the artificial demands of the outside world. It is the self that is closest to divine truth, the self that exists beyond ego, fear, and doubt. When you find yourself in this space, know that it is not abandonment, it is God's way of drawing you back to your essence. Solitude provides a space where you can cultivate resilience and fortify your spirit. In the presence of others, we may lean on them for support, validation, or encouragement. But alone, you learn that true strength comes from within. It's as though God places you in this setting to show you the resilience you didn't know you had, to reveal that you are capable of withstanding the storms of life without crumbling. In this silence, you discover a source of strength that has been with you all along, a strength that is not contingent on external circumstances. This resilience becomes a tool that you will carry with you, a foundation on which you can build a life that is unshakable, no matter the challenges you face. When God brings you into a period of solitude, it is also a time of discernment, a period to clarify your path. In a world filled with opinions, judgments, and comparisons, it is easy to lose sight of what you truly desire, of what is genuinely in alignment with your soul. Aloneness gives you the clarity to see what is yours to pursue, what is worth your energy, and what you must release. God does not want you to chase after every fleeting whim or to follow paths simply because others have said they are worthwhile. Rather, in the quiet, you learn to listen to the deepest parts of yourself, to hear what you truly yearn for. It is as though God is asking you to cleanse your vision, to rid yourself of the illusions that others have placed before you, so that you may walk a path that is truly your own. This time alone is also about learning to trust the divine process, to let go of the need for constant reassurance or validation. In solitude, you are asked to surrender your need to know every detail of how your journey will unfold. It is a call to let go of control and to trust that the path before you is unfolding in perfect timing, even when you cannot see every step. This trust is essential because it creates a faith that is unbreakable, a faith that endures even in the face of uncertainty. God prepares you in this solitude to be unwavering, to be grounded in a belief that you are guided and supported, even when you stand alone. One of the greatest gifts of aloneness is the freedom it brings. Alone, you no longer seek to perform or to prove yourself to others. There is no one to impress, no one to appease, and in this freedom, you can explore who you are without constraint. You can express yourself authentically, allowing your true nature to surface without fear of judgment. This freedom is not merely a release from social expectations, it is the liberation of your spirit, the unleashing of your creative potential. When you come to know this freedom, you carry it with you, even when you return to the presence of others. You are no longer bound by the need for approval, for you have come to know the profound liberation that God has gifted you through this period of aloneness. In this preparation, God is also teaching you self-love, a love that is independent of others' affections or attention. Alone, you learn to embrace yourself wholly, to appreciate your own company, to nurture yourself in ways that are deep and fulfilling. This self-love becomes the cornerstone of every relationship you will have. When you love yourself, you no longer enter relationships out of need or fear. You connect from a place of abundance, from a place of strength. This self-love creates a foundation for genuine, healthy relationships because it is rooted in an understanding of your own worth and completeness. So if you find yourself alone, remember that this is not a punishment or a sign of deficiency. It is God's way of readying you for a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. This is a sacred time, a precious season where you are given the chance to grow, to heal, to strengthen, and to rediscover the divinity that resides within you. Embrace this preparation, for when you emerge from it, you will carry a peace, a strength, and a clarity that no one can take from you. There lies an invitation to experience something beyond the ordinary, a meeting with the divine presence within. When we are alone, the noise of the world fades, and with it, all the external expectations, opinions, and judgments that so often shape how we perceive ourselves. This aloneness is a sacred gift, a time when we are drawn inward to discover that the divinity we have searched for outwardly has been quietly present within us all along. Most people seek comfort, validation, and guidance from the outside world, relying on the opinions of others, on social structures, and on relationships. Yet there comes a time when this seeking leads us to feel incomplete, restless, and even discontented. There is a divine purpose to this discomfort. It is as if God is calling you to shift your gaze inward, to cease looking outside for what can only be found within. In this solitude, you begin to encounter your inner divinity, a process that transforms your understanding of who you are and what it means to be connected to something greater. In moments of solitude, we confront the layers of ourselves that we may have hidden, ignored, or dismissed. Without the distractions of daily life, we meet parts of ourselves we didn't know existed, parts we might have neglected in our attempts to fit into societal molds. This unveiling is necessary because these hidden aspects are often the keys to our inner divinity. Divine truth resides not in some lofty, unattainable part of us, but in these very parts we may have overlooked. Through accepting these facets of ourselves, we come to understand that divinity is not something external or foreign. It is the very essence of who we are at our core. Encountering this inner divinity is a process of deepening self-awareness. It is as though the light within begins to shine brighter, illuminating the beliefs, patterns, and emotions that cloud our vision of ourselves. Through this illumination, we start to see our true nature, a nature that is compassionate, wise, and inherently connected to the divine source. The more we connect with this aspect of ourselves, the less dependent we become on external approval, and the more we begin to rely on the guidance of this inner voice, this divine presence that knows our path more intimately than anyone else ever could. This journey within also brings us face to face with our fears and doubts. In solitude, we have no one else to hide behind, no distractions to shield us from our insecurities. It can be an uncomfortable experience as we confront the voices of fear and inadequacy that have, perhaps unconsciously, driven many of our choices. Yet it is here, in the midst of these fears, that the divine presence within begins to make itself known. Instead of being swallowed by these fears, you start to see them as temporary, as illusions born from past conditioning rather than as reflections of your true self. The inner divinity begins to emerge as a voice of calm, of reassurance, a steady presence that tells you that you are enough, that you are guided, and that there is nothing to fear. Through this encounter, a profound sense of peace and trust begins to develop. You start to understand that you are connected to something vast and wise, something that has always been guiding you. In those quiet moments, you realize that the divine within you is not separate from you, it is you. It is the source of your intuition, your inspiration, and your strength. This realization is transformative because it shifts the way you move through life. No longer do you seek answers from others as fervently as you once did. You learn to trust the insights and wisdom that arise from within, knowing that this inner guidance is aligned with the divine plan for your life. In connecting with this inner divinity, you also become aware of the love that dwells within you, a love that is not dependent on any external conditions. This love is unconditional, boundless, and deeply healing. It is the love of the divine that sees you as whole, as complete, just as you are. When you connect with this love, you realize that you no longer need to chase after love in the outside world. You are love, and this realization changes the way you relate to yourself and to others. You begin to let go of relationships, habits, and situations that do not honor this divine love within you. In their place, you cultivate relationships and circumstances that reflect the peace, joy, and love you now carry within. This encounter with your inner divinity also awakens a sense of purpose. You understand that you are not here by accident, that your life has meaning beyond mere survival or superficial success. This purpose is not something that can be defined by society's standards. It is unique to you, a calling that only you can fulfill. This divine purpose may not reveal itself all at once, but in solitude, you begin to sense its presence, to feel its gentle pull guiding you in a certain direction. You realize that your purpose is not something you have to strive for or achieve in the traditional sense. It is an unfolding, a journey of becoming that is guided by the divine presence within. In this sacred encounter with your inner divinity, you find a source of strength, love, and wisdom that empowers you to live authentically. You no longer feel the need to conform to the expectations of others or to seek approval from the outside world. Instead, you move forward with a deep sense of peace, knowing that you are guided and supported by the divine presence within. This inner divinity becomes your compass, leading you toward experiences, relationships, and opportunities that are aligned with your true self. When you encounter your inner divinity, you begin to live a life that is grounded, purposeful, and filled with a sense of connection to something greater. You understand that you are never truly alone, because the divine presence within you is always there, guiding you, loving you, and supporting you on every step of your journey. In the stillness of silence, there is a power that cannot be found amidst the constant noise and activity of the outside world. Silence often feels daunting because in it we are left with only ourselves, our thoughts, our fears, and our hopes. But it is in this very silence that an unshakable strength is born, a strength that isn't dependent on external forces, a strength rooted deeply within the soul. When you allow yourself to step away from the noise, from the distractions of daily life, you create space for something profound to unfold within you. Silence strips away the demands and expectations that society places upon you, as well as the identities you might take on to meet those demands. When the external voices fade, you begin to hear the voice within. This is the voice of your true self, your inner wisdom, and ultimately the divine. Strength born from silence isn't about hardening yourself or pushing through life's challenges by sheer force. It's about becoming resilient through understanding and inner peace. You come face to face with who you truly are, beyond roles, titles, or labels. When you sit with yourself in this way, there is no one to impress, no one to convince. You are left with only yourself, which can initially be uncomfortable. All your insecurities, doubts, and fears rise to the surface when there is nothing to distract you from them. But instead of being overwhelming, this process is transformative. In the silence, you start to see these fears for what they truly are: thoughts and feelings that, while powerful, do not define you. You learn to separate yourself from your thoughts, realizing that they are not as permanent or as true as they might seem in the heat of the moment. You begin to experience a deeper, more resilient part of yourself, your awareness, your consciousness, the part of you that remains unchanged by external circumstances. Silence teaches you to stop reacting to every situation or impulse. Often, life can feel like a series of reactions, one after another, as we rush from one task to the next, trying to keep up with external expectations. In silence, however, you begin to cultivate the power of response over reaction. There is a subtle difference, yet it is profound. Reaction is immediate and often driven by emotions or conditioning response. On the other hand, comes from a place of calm reflection, from an awareness that has considered all aspects of a situation. Silence gives you the space to respond, rather than react, allowing you to move through life with greater intention and clarity. One of the most powerful lessons silence imparts is the ability to listen, truly listen, not just to others but to yourself. Often our inner voice is drowned out by the noise of the outside world, by the demands of work, relationships, and societal expectations. In silence, however, you begin to hear this voice clearly. This is not the voice of your ego, which speaks from a place of fear and desire, but the voice of your intuition, your inner wisdom. This voice, quiet yet unwavering, knows what you truly need, even when your conscious mind might be focused elsewhere. Through silence, you learn to trust this voice, to recognize its truth, and to rely on it as a guiding force in your life. This inner strength that grows in silence is not about being unaffected by life's challenges. Rather, it is about developing the capacity to meet those challenges from a place of inner calm. When you are rooted in this strength, you are less likely to be shaken by the ups and downs of life. You begin to understand that your peace is not something that can be taken away by external circumstances because it is not dependent on them. It arises from within, from your connection to your true self, a self that is grounded in the eternal rather than in the transient. Through silence, you also begin to cultivate patience, both with yourself and with others. In a world that values speed and productivity, silence teaches you that growth and transformation cannot be rushed. True strength, the kind that is lasting and unshakable, requires time and patience to develop. In silence, you come to accept this pace, recognizing that every moment of solitude, every quiet reflection, is contributing to your inner growth. The strength that comes from silence allows you to navigate relationships with greater ease and authenticity. When you are at peace with yourself, when you have faced your own fears and insecurities, you are less likely to project these onto others. You can approach relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness or fear. You no longer seek validation or approval, because you have found a source of validation within. This makes you a more compassionate, understanding, and patient presence in the lives of those around you, for you have learned to offer yourself these same qualities. Silence is a form of communion with the divine, a space where you reconnect with the sacred essence within you. This connection is where true strength lies. You realize that you are never truly alone, that there is a presence within you that is vast, wise, and unconditionally loving. This presence is your source of strength, a strength that can face any challenge, because it is not limited by the human mind or body. It is a strength that arises from your connection to the infinite, to the divine that exists within you and around you. In a world that often sees silence as empty or passive, you come to understand that it is, in fact, full of potential and power. It is in silence that you gather the courage to pursue your deepest dreams, to honor your true self, and to live a life that is aligned with your highest purpose. This strength through silence is not something that you can measure or quantify, but it is felt in every decision you make, in the peace you carry, and in the resilience you exhibit. It is the strength of knowing who you are, of being connected to something greater than yourself, and of moving through life with a sense of purpose and calm that no external force can disrupt. So if you find yourself in silence, embrace it. Let it become your sanctuary, a place where you return again and again to reconnect with your inner strength. I end the journey towards self-discovery. There comes a point where we must confront and understand the nature of our desires. Desires are the motivating forces of our lives. They shape our actions, color our perceptions, and dictate much of our experience. But not all desires serve our highest good. Many desires are rooted in temporary satisfaction, in ego, and in attachment to the material world. The process of purification is not about eliminating desire, but about transforming it, understanding which desires truly serve our spiritual growth, and which ones keep us bound to illusion and limitation. Purification of desires is a gradual shedding of the layers that separate us from our true nature. The desires that arise from fear, from the need to prove ourselves, or from a sense of lack, are like clouds obscuring the light of our inner self. These desires can feel urgent and consuming, pushing us to seek fulfillment in ways that are often fleeting. Yet over time, these same desires reveal their inability to bring us lasting happiness, as they are tied to an ever-changing world. In the silence of reflection, we begin to see that many of our desires do not come from a place of wholeness. Rather, they are attempts to fill an emptiness that can only truly be satisfied by connecting with the divine. The first step in this purification is awareness, becoming conscious of the nature and origins of our desires. Without judgment or guilt, we observe ourselves, looking closely at the motivations behind our wants. Are they born from fear of missing out, from a need to impress, or from a desire to control? Often, what we think we want is not the object itself, but the feeling we believe it will bring: security, love, validation, or power. Through self-inquiry, we begin to distinguish between desires that are transient and self-centered, and those that come from a place of genuine love, compassion, and truth. As we purify our desires, we begin to recognize that many of our wants were reflections of social conditioning rather than authentic expressions of our soul. Society often tells us that success, wealth, status, and popularity are the markers of a meaningful life. However, when we examine these values in the quiet of introspection, we may find that they hold little real satisfaction. True fulfillment comes not from conforming to societal expectations, but from aligning with our inner calling, our higher purpose. Purified desires are those that reflect the essence of who we are beyond our personality and our social roles. They are the desires that nourish our spirit, that guide us towards self-realization rather than self-aggrandizement. The process of purification also involves letting go of attachment. Many of our desires are tied to a specific outcome or result, and when we cling to these expectations, we create suffering. Attachment makes us believe that our happiness depends on obtaining or achieving something outside ourselves, whether it's a particular job, a relationship, or a certain lifestyle. In truth, these external attachments often distract us from our inner peace. To purify desire is to release the need for any specific outcome and to embrace a sense of trust in the unfolding of life. When we let go of attachment, we open ourselves to the possibility that there may be a higher plan, a divine wisdom guiding our lives in ways that we may not immediately understand. Purified desire then becomes a desire for connection, for truth, and for love. It is no longer about accumulating or achieving, but about aligning with our divine nature. This desire is unselfish. It seeks not to take but to give, not to possess but to experience. When our desires are purified, they transform into expressions of service, compassion, and love. Rather than seeking to gain something from the world, we become inspired to bring forth our gifts, to share our light, and to uplift others. This shift from selfish to selfless desire is a profound transformation, one that brings a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. This purification process is not one of deprivation but of liberation. As we release the desires that no longer serve us, we free ourselves from the burdens and limitations they impose. We become lighter, more open, more present to the beauty of each moment. Purified desires do not pull us out of the present into a future that may or may not come to pass. They allow us to fully inhabit each moment, to engage with life as it is. This presence brings with it a joy that is independent of circumstances, a joy that arises from within and is not contingent on anything outside ourselves. Through this purification, we also come to see that desire itself is an expression of the divine impulse within us. It is not that desires are inherently wrong, but that they need to be aligned with the true nature of our being. When we purify our desires, we align them with the highest good, with the intention to grow, to love, to understand, and to serve. In doing so, our desires become expressions of the divine will, and we find that our life flows with a sense of harmony and purpose. The journey of purification is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. As we grow, we encounter new layers of desire, new attachments to release, and deeper truths to embody. This path requires patience, compassion, and honesty with ourselves. It is a journey of self-discovery that brings us closer to our true nature and to the divine presence that resides within us. In purified desire, we find a profound sense of freedom. No longer are we chasing after fleeting goals or temporary pleasures. Instead, we are motivated by a love for life itself, a desire to experience the depth and beauty of existence in every form. This purified desire is expansive and inclusive. It connects us to all of life, to the oneness that underlies all of creation. Through it, we transcend the small self and step into a larger, more universal expression of who we are. Purification of desires brings us into alignment with the divine purpose for our lives. We find that our desires, once purified, become the very means through which the divine expresses itself in the world. They are no longer about self-gain, but about self-realization, about fulfilling the purpose for which we were created. Through purified desires, we become instruments of peace, love, and light, and in this we find the fulfillment we have always sought. The journey toward unveiling one's authentic self is a journey homeward, a path to rediscovering the true essence that lies beneath layers of conditioning, expectations, and roles adopted through life. For most, the notion of self is shaped largely by the outer world. We take on roles assigned by family, society, and career, and in doing so, we often lose sight of our innermost self, the one that existed before any labels, titles, or masks were applied. Unveiling the authentic self requires courage, reflection, and a willingness to go beyond the familiar territory of ego-driven identities into the boundless landscape of our true nature. To begin this process, we must first understand that the authentic self is not something created, it is something uncovered. Beneath the myriad layers of identity, preferences, and social personas, there is a core self that has remained unchanged. This self is constant, unaffected by the opinions of others, unaltered by success or failure, and untouched by life's passing circumstances. Yet to access this core self, we must be willing to examine and question the illusions we've accepted as me. This journey is often uncomfortable, as it requires dismantling the defenses and personas that once felt like sources of protection and security. However, what we find in their place is a clarity and peace that no external validation can offer. One of the first steps in unveiling the authentic self is to question the beliefs and assumptions we have accepted about ourselves and the world. Many of these beliefs are inherited, shaped by family, culture, and society rather than by personal experience or truth. We are told who we should be, what success looks like, and how we ought to behave. These messages are often well-meaning, yet they limit us, forcing us into roles that may not align with our true nature. But through honest self-inquiry, we begin to see which parts of our identity are truly ours and which are borrowed from others. This is a process of letting go, of recognizing that our authentic self does not need to conform to any external standards. It exists independently, whole and complete, beyond any conditioning. To unveil the authentic self, we must also become comfortable with solitude and introspection. In silence, free from the expectations of others, we create a space for our true nature to emerge. In this stillness, we listen not to the thoughts that race through our minds, but to the deeper, quieter voice within. This voice is not loud or forceful, it is subtle, like a whisper. It is often drowned out by the noise of daily life, by the pressures of work, relationships, and societal demands. But when we sit with ourselves in silence, we begin to recognize this voice as our true guide, a compass pointing us toward the life that resonates with our soul. An essential part of this journey is facing the parts of ourselves that we may have hidden or denied. The authentic self includes not only our strengths but also our vulnerabilities, insecurities, and fears. These aspects are not flaws, they are part of our humanity. To unveil our true self, we must embrace these parts with compassion rather than judgment. Often we fear that if others see these parts of us, we will be rejected or judged. However, it is in embracing our wholeness, both light and shadow, that we find true liberation. This acceptance allows us to be fully present, to show up in life as we are without needing to pretend or prove anything. Unveiling the authentic self also involves letting go of the need for external approval. We are often taught that our worth depends on the acceptance of others, on their opinions and judgments. This belief creates a constant pressure to conform, to mold ourselves to fit expectations. Yet, the authentic self is not bound by the opinions of others. It knows its own value, independent of praise or criticism. As we detach from the need for approval, we discover a profound sense of freedom. We are no longer driven by the desire to impress or please. Instead, we are guided by an inner integrity, a commitment to live in alignment with our true values and desires. The authentic self is not separate from life but deeply connected to it. When we unveil this self, we realize that we are not isolated individuals, but part of a greater whole. Our actions, thoughts, and intentions have an impact on others and on the world around us. This understanding awakens a sense of responsibility, not out of obligation but out of love. We no longer act from a place of self-interest alone, we act in ways that contribute to the well-being of all. This interconnectedness is not something that can be intellectually understood, it must be felt. And it is only when we unveil our true self that we can experience this unity in its fullness. As we journey inward, we may also discover gifts, talents, and passions that have long been dormant, buried beneath layers of fear or doubt. These gifts are not accidents, they are expressions of our unique essence. Unveiling the authentic self means allowing these gifts to shine, not for recognition, but as an offering to the world. Each of us has a unique purpose, a role to play in the larger tapestry of life. When we connect with our authentic self, we naturally align with this purpose. Life becomes not a series of tasks to be accomplished, but a joyful expression of who we are. Living from the authentic self does not mean that life will be free from challenges. However, when we live from this place of truth, we are no longer swayed by every external circumstance. We remain grounded, resilient, and capable of navigating life's ups and downs with grace. The authentic self is like an anchor, keeping us steady amidst life's storms. It is a source of strength, peace, and joy that cannot be found in the external world. In unveiling the authentic self, we come home to ourselves. We stop seeking fulfillment outside and realize that everything we have ever sought is already within us. This journey is a return to the simplicity of being, a shedding of everything that is not truly ours. And in this state of being, we find a profound joy, a peace that surpasses understanding, and a love that encompasses all. It is a journey worth taking, for in unveiling our authentic self, we discover the beauty, power, and divinity that resides within. This is our true nature, our essence, and our greatest gift to the world. Building faith and trust is an inner journey, a conscious cultivation of belief in both the unseen forces of the universe and the deep wisdom within ourselves. Faith and trust, though often spoken of together, are distinct yet intertwined qualities. Faith is the invisible thread that connects us to something greater than ourselves, an abiding confidence in the guidance of a higher power or the intelligence of life itself. Trust, on the other hand, is the willingness to lean into that connection, to release control and open to life as it unfolds. Together they empower us to face uncertainty, adversity, and the unknown with grace and resilience. Developing faith requires an acknowledgement that we cannot always see the path ahead. It calls for a relinquishing of the mind's desire for certainty and a surrendering to the flow of life. Faith is born not from what is tangible or logical, but from a deep inner knowing that there is purpose and order beyond what we can comprehend. This knowing often emerges from personal experience, moments of synchronicity, the feeling of being guided, or the realization that some unseen force has sustained us even in our darkest times. Building faith, then, is like strengthening a muscle. It grows through conscious practice, through turning inward and listening to the quiet wisdom that arises when we stop looking outward for validation. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate faith is to become comfortable with uncertainty. The mind craves answers and security, yet true faith asks us to release these attachments. Life's uncertainties are not meant to be feared but embraced, for they are the fertile ground where faith takes root. When we step into the unknown, we create space for new possibilities, for growth that would not be possible within the confines of the familiar. This willingness to face the unknown with an open heart is the essence of faith, for it shows our trust in a universe that is infinitely intelligent and supportive, even when we cannot see the full picture. Trusting the journey is also an essential aspect of this inner work. While faith is the seed, trust is the act of nurturing it. Trusting the journey means accepting that each moment, each experience, whether joyful or painful, is an integral part of our path. It's easy to trust life when things are going well, yet the true measure of trust is our response during times of challenge or loss. In those moments, we are asked to trust that even what seems difficult or unfair is serving a higher purpose, helping us grow in ways we may not yet understand. Trust allows us to be patient and to surrender our need to control outcomes. It is a deep surrender to life's timing, a recognition that what is meant for us will never miss us, and what is not meant for us will ultimately fall away. Building faith and trust also involves letting go of our attachment to how things should be. We are often conditioned to believe that life should unfold in a particular way, that certain accomplishments, relationships, or circumstances are necessary for happiness. However, these attachments can create inner turmoil, for they often do not align with the unfolding of our true path. Faith asks us to release these rigid expectations and to trust that what is happening is exactly what is needed. When we let go of attachment, we free ourselves from the constant push, each moment without expecting them to last forever or define us. By accepting the temporary nature of life, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. This doesn't diminish our love or passion, it deepens it, as we become present with what is, valuing each moment for itself rather than as a means to an end. Another aspect of freeing ourselves from attachment involves letting go of the belief that external achievements or possessions will bring lasting happiness. While it's natural to have goals, aspirations, and dreams, attachment forms when we begin to believe that these achievements are essential for our fulfillment. We chase success, validation, or material gains, thinking that these will complete us. But this form of attachment is rooted in a sense of lack, a feeling that we are somehow incomplete or unworthy as we are. True freedom is recognizing that we are already whole, that our worth is inherent and not dependent on what we achieve or possess. When we understand this, our pursuits become expressions of joy and creativity rather than attempts to fill an inner void. Freedom from attachment also means releasing the need to control others or circumstances. Often we attach to the idea of things turning out a certain way or to people behaving as we wish. This attachment to outcomes creates suffering, as life rarely conforms to our expectations. When we are bound by attachment, we become reactive, resisting or fighting what we cannot control. True freedom lies in surrendering to the flow of life, allowing things to unfold as they are meant to, without imposing our will or insisting on specific outcomes. This does not mean we stop caring or cease to act. It means we release the need for things to happen on our terms, trusting that life's unfolding has a wisdom beyond what we can always see. In relationships, freedom from attachment is about loving without clinging. Attachment in relationships arises when we depend on others for our sense of identity, happiness, or security. This can lead to possessiveness, fear, and control, as we become invested in the other person fulfilling our needs. True freedom allows us to love from a place of abundance rather than lack. We cherish the people in our lives without feeling the need to possess them or fearing their departure. This kind of love respects the individuality of each person, allowing both to grow and evolve without the constraints of dependency. Loving without attachment means finding joy in the connection itself, not in what we can gain or how it fulfills us. It is a love that liberates rather than confines. The practice of mindfulness is a powerful tool for cultivating freedom from attachment. Mindfulness brings us into the present moment, where attachment has no place. When we are truly present, we are not longing for the future or clinging to the past. We are simply experiencing life as it is. Mindfulness allows us to observe our desires, fears, and patterns of attachment without judgment, creating a space between ourselves and our reactions. This awareness is the beginning of freedom, as we learn to witness our attachments without being ruled by them. In this space of awareness, we can make conscious choices, rather than reacting impulsively based on ingrained habits of attachment. Gratitude is another powerful practice that fosters freedom from attachment. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack or fear losing to what we have right now. Gratitude is an acknowledgement of life's abundance, a reminder that our well-being is not dependent on any single thing, person, or outcome. When we live in gratitude, we stop seeking fulfillment outside ourselves. We recognize the richness of each moment. This mindset nurtures contentment, a sense of enoughness, where we feel complete, just as we are. Gratitude breaks the grip of attachment by grounding us in the present and reminding us that life is already a gift, without needing to add anything to it. Freedom from attachment is a path to self-liberation. It does not mean we live without desires or connections. It means we are no longer bound by them. We engage fully with life, love deeply, and pursue our dreams. But we do so with an open hand, allowing life to flow through us without clinging or grasping. In this state of freedom, we experience a profound peace, a sense of wholeness that arises from within. We are no longer caught in the endless cycle of seeking and losing, of fear and desire. Instead, we find joy in simply being, trusting that life will provide what is needed and that our essence, our true self, is beyond the reach of anything transient. To live in this freedom is to experience a love, peace, and fulfillment that is not dependent on circumstances. It is the liberation of the soul, the recognition that we are not defined by what we possess, who we are with, or what we achieve. In this freedom, we are truly ourselves, boundless, complete, and at peace with all that is. This is the essence of a life lived in freedom from attachment, an unshakable joy, an abiding love, and a deep inner peace that transcends the comings and goings of the external world. Manifesting your true desires is an act of aligning your inner world with the power of intention, clarity, and unwavering belief. It is a process of focusing on what is most deeply fulfilling to you, rather than what society, family, or superficial influences might tell you to want. True manifestation requires an inward journey to discover what genuinely lights up your soul, and a commitment to that vision with both mind and heart. It is the art of creating reality from the inside out, using the energy of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs as the foundation. The first step in manifesting your true desires is self-awareness. Often people are not fully aware of their deepest desires because they are too busy focusing on what they think they should want. Society constantly feeds us ideas about success, relationships, and material goods, and it is easy to confuse these external ideals with our own inner calling. Manifestation begins with quieting external influences and asking ourselves, what truly matters to me? What brings me joy, peace, and fulfillment? In this stillness, we connect with our authentic selves, uncovering the desires that resonate at the core of our being. Self-awareness in manifestation is not just about knowing what you want, it is about discovering why you want it and how it aligns with who you truly are. Clarity is the next vital component in manifesting your true desires. Clear intentions are like seeds that, when planted in the fertile ground of your mind, have the potential to grow into reality. Ambiguity weakens the power of manifestation, as scattered intentions yield scattered results. To manifest successfully, take the time to create a vivid mental picture of what you want, allowing every detail to come alive in your mind. The more precisely you can define your vision, the stronger your ability to attract it. Imagine not only what this desire looks like, but also how it feels. Engage all your senses in this vision, so it becomes an experience in your mind and heart, as if it were already present. This clarity sends a powerful message to the universe and to your subconscious mind, saying, "This is my true desire, and I am ready to receive it." Belief is the fuel that powers manifestation. Without belief, even the most vivid desire remains a distant wish. You must believe in your ability to bring your desires into reality, regardless of current circumstances or past limitations. This belief is more than mere optimism. It is a deep-seated conviction that what you desire is not only possible but is already on its way to you. Belief does not require you to know how everything will unfold. It only asks you to trust that the how will reveal itself in time. When you cultivate this faith, you align your thoughts and emotions with the frequency of your desire. This alignment allows the process of manifestation to flow naturally, unhindered by doubt or fear. Every time doubt creeps in, consciously replace it with thoughts of confidence and trust, reinforcing the belief that your desire is inevitable. An essential part of manifesting your true desires is embracing the power of gratitude. Gratitude amplifies the energy of abundance within you, shifting your focus from lack to fulfillment. Instead of focusing on what you do not have, gratitude trains you to appreciate what is already present in your life. This state of appreciation raises your vibration, bringing you into alignment with more experiences that reflect abundance and joy. By being grateful for your desires as if they are already fulfilled, you send a powerful signal that you are open and ready to receive. This mindset shifts your energy from a state of wanting and needing to a state of abundance and receptivity. Gratitude, therefore, is not only a tool for happiness, it is a magnetic force in the process of manifestation. Aligned action is another crucial step in manifesting your desires. While it is essential to hold a clear vision and strong belief, manifestation is not a passive process. Taking steps toward your desires, however small, shows your commitment to your vision. Aligned action does not mean forcing things to happen. Instead, it is about acting in ways that feel inspired and natural, steps that resonate with the direction of your desire. When you are aligned with your true desires, the right actions will often reveal themselves without effort. These steps may involve learning new skills, meeting new people, or making necessary changes to prepare for the arrival of your desires. Each action you take strengthens your intention, reinforcing to yourself and the universe that you are ready and willing to receive what you desire. Letting go of attachment to the outcome is also vital in manifestation. Attachment often stems from a place of fear or lack, creating resistance that blocks the flow of your desires. When you cling to an outcome, you are essentially telling the universe that you do not trust the process, which contradicts the essence of true manifestation. Letting go does not mean giving up on your desire, it means releasing the need for it to happen in a specific way or by a certain time. Trust that what is meant for you will come in the perfect way and time, and surrender the how to the intelligence of the universe. This surrender creates a sense of peace and allows you to stay open to unexpected opportunities and experiences that may be even better than what you originally envisioned. In manifesting your true desires, you embark on a profound journey of self-discovery and inner alignment. This process isn't just about gaining things, it's about uncovering the power within you to shape your reality with purpose, gratitude, and unwavering faith. By understanding your deepest desires, cultivating clarity, belief, and taking inspired action, you align with the energy that draws your vision into existence. Letting go of attachment and embodying the feelings of already having what you seek elevates your energy, allowing you to co-create with life in harmony and abundance. As you move forward, remember that manifestation is not a destination but an ongoing partnership between your inner world and the universe. Stay open, stay grateful, and trust the journey. Thank you for taking the time to explore this path, and may your journey of manifestation lead to a life filled with true fulfillment and joy.